Your background, this is the social banner for the link.
Oh, sick. Here, let me
It's cut off a little bit. Wait, let me.
Yes. Now
Yeah,
people
so
were
it's
telling
going to
me
be very obvious on Twitter.
people DMing me were like, "Yo, make sure you have that marketing banner for Twitter and stuff." So.
Yeah, it works wonders. Like when it comes to conversion rate, especially because this is like high contrasted, so it's like normal colors but high contrast done in Canva and stuff. So it's very clickable. It's good.
Nice. Canva's my best friend. Oops. So yeah, so daily update is more gradual, right?
Yes. So with Hydra, it's with Hyper, it's 0.08% a day. Hydra is 0.028. There's a bunch of changes we made with Hydra. One is there's no H-rank bonuses. There's no early adopter bonus. There's no burn amplifier bonus, a burn bonus amplifier, because we wanted to make it as close to cost basis as possible. So no freebies, which will make the mining more sustainable, for sure.
Yeah. Now it's going to be awesome. And I was saying that it would be cool if we can kind of start where Hyper is right now, in a sense, where you have people sustainably mining on it. Really cool.
That would be the goal. Like have some reasonable APY, because there's also a big difference between Hyper and Hydra, where the Hydra pool is going to be way thicker than Hyper in the beginning. That's important because we want the majority of the liquidity pool to be owned by the smart contract. Because what happens is it's a Uniswap V3 pool. It's going to be DragonX Hydra. And then the fees that get collected by the smart contract, the DragonX gets put into the vortex, and the Hydra gets burned from the fees generated on the Uniswap V3 pair. So we want to own the majority of liquidity for a very long time.
Sweet. Speaking of the vortex, did we settle on 8 and 10? I remember we were talking potentially juicing up the vortex to be a little bit heavier, but
yes, yeah, we're probably going to change this. So as of now, it's 8% of the TitanX that gets used to start miners, and 10% of the DragonX that is bought off market gets stored in the vortex for release later on. We might up that to maybe 10% TitanX and 18% DragonX, because it is a form of decentralized buy and burn where a bunch of the buy pressure gets stored up into the future. This is very important because the way the vortex works is the max miner length on Hydra is 88 days. What usually happens after a max miner length, you have people distribute out, they take profit, and then you have this the vortex to reinvigorate the system later on after all max miners are out. So we have a protection against the max miner wave. The launch is always the heaviest, and then the second wave, third wave, fourth wave gets way more sustainable because launches are always the biggest moment in the protocol.
Yeah, that's really smart and makes total sense. Hopefully, the 369 payout will also keep mining ROI high. So
yeah, I mean,
people are dumping heavy
because now. So another big difference between Hyper and Hydra is so Hyper has TitanX in the middle. So Ethereum comes into Hyper, all of the Ethereum buys TitanX, burns 20% of it, then goes on to buy Hyper. TitanX is currently still inflationary. So the effect on the double buy is going to be way bigger on Hydra because DragonX is a capped supply asset. So it's way easier to protect price because once people are out, they're out. And so DragonX is currently hyper-deflationary because of the staking payouts from TitanX. But this adds another level of deflation to it, where 20% of the buy pressure that comes in burns DragonX, making it hyper-deflationary regardless of the staking payouts. So the price performance is probably going to be, obviously not financial advice, but way more stable than TitanX. And then the crazy part starts when TitanX goes hyper-deflationary, and then you have a bunch of hyper-deflationary stuff paired with a hyper-deflationary asset. That's when it gets really fun.
It's insane. It's so insane. Yeah, we're all waiting for that lever to kick off, but that's gonna send everything up, you know.
We're so close.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, let's see what else we got here in the white paper. Yeah, guys, I mean, we're constantly working on going on live stream stuff. So if there's a few things that need to be changed, just bear with us. Like there might be some things that could be cleaned up or removed. Proof of burn. Yeah, this is pretty much the same, right? We just are leaving that option back in the protocol.
Yeah, correct. So TitanX, Hyper, and Hydra all have the proof of burn functions. We're using them for X28. So what the burn functions essentially allow you to do is it allows you to burn miners that exist, that are active. It allows you to burn stakes, and it allows you to burn liquid. 100% burn. Now the protocols built a little bit different, where they receive Titanx, burn a percentage of it. That's different. They don't use the burn functions. But there are going to be protocols in the future that will use fully utilize the burn functions. So Hydra also has that, where miner stakes and liquid can be burned, which could be used for protocols in the future. So it's the same stuff from Titanx.
Yeah, that's sick. So you're thinking about potentially supporting Hyper and or Hydra for X28 as well?
That's going to be too confusing for the user
Okay.
user experience thing. But maybe future protocol. There's a bunch of ways you can do it that is actually really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to people building on Hydra. Like, it's a huge lever for DragonX and Titanx. So if we can get some burning on Hydra or buy pressure, it'd be amazing. We will support it in farms, obviously. So that is one good thing.
That's a big one. Yeah, that's a big one. Especially if farms come out when miner ROI is more stable. It solidifies the mining ROI, which is incredible. Yeah, Titan Farms has not been talked about publicly yet, but it's fucking sick. Like, it's sick. Titan Farms is
So
amazing.
many features in there, right? I mean, that conversation was crazy. Yep. Just you could do so many things with it. It's like a full-time job just to manage that thing, just to handle all the different ways to
the magic hand.
Yeah. Early claim miners. So early claim. Some people were saying they should be more dire. Is this the same claim penalties as Hyper?
Claim, so yeah. The way the early claim works is so if you have Hyperminer active now, you can click the early claim button. The early claim button becomes available after 3 days of maturity. So if you start let's say a 30-day miner or an 88-day miner, after 3 days, that button becomes available. It shows you the calculations on the UI. It shows you ROI. So that's based on the cost that it took to start it, the cost that it takes to end it, and the penalty applied to the Hydra you'll get at the end, and it shows you the calculation on the UI. So you don't need to do the numbers yourself. But the early claim, because I remember you talking about this, you mentioned the sentence of capitulation is better than deferred selling.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. It was like an echo in my head, constantly bouncing around. And that's why this early claim features came in. So it allows people to claim their miners. So let's say, for example, you start a miner with 10 billion Titanx. It costs you 50% of the start cost to end it. So that's 5 billion Titanx. That's regardless. It's 50% of the start cost to end it. The Titanx that is paid for the early claim protocol fee goes towards exactly the same way as it does for miners. So it gets 20% DragonX fall by DragonX, burn 20% by Hydra. So it's extra. Okay. You can call it external, but it's internal. Yeah, so you pay 50% to have the ability to early end, and then you pay a penalty based on maturity. So the way the penalty gets calculated is, so it says it here. You incur a penalty based on percentage matured, and the minimum penalty is 50%. So when you start your miner, it's obviously 0% matured, and then you go 1% matured, 2% matured, 3% matured. Once you're at 5% matured, for example, you incur a 95% penalty on the Hydra you get at the end of your miner. So the penalty goes down until it's 50% minimum. Now, this makes sense if the mining ROI is extremely high. So people are just going to capitulate into early claim miners, which feeds the protocol, and they can compound faster. So it is a very advanced feature, as you can see at the bottom. So don't click it if you don't know what you're doing, but it shows you the ROI. If you want to compound faster, you can do it. While doing that, you're supporting the ecosystem. You get the benefit of you get to claim the ROI earlier, you get to compound faster than other users, and in the meantime, you're feeding the ecosystem.
That's sick. Yeah, it's really smart to have people have to pay that early end cost, which it mitigates some of the effects of that. Yeah.
So it's been amazing on Hyper because it shows up on the stats page under penalties, and the same is going to be for Hydra. So the penalties on the stats page include late claim of miners like we have in Titanx. Titanx does not have the early claim, but it shows the penalties that people paid, like the maturity penalty on Hydra gets added to the penalties as well. So Hyper has 14% of the supply and penalty. So a lot of users use that early claim feature in the beginning.
I put this in obviously because I'm an anti-staking guy these days, but I don't hate staking, but I just feel like we found something better with where we're headed. It remains to be seen, but yeah. it's just we get more economic energy into the buy and burn, and we get people who want to get out right away. So hopefully we'll set in higher and higher floors, but who knows?
I agree. So when it comes to the staking, the main issue with staking was that there's two versions of staking mainly available, or three versions. One is in other protocols. One is you stake a coin to get more of that coin, which gives whales the ability to constantly sell inflation off into the future. So if you have a whale that owns 5% of the supply and they get 10% a year, they can basically dump 0.5% of the total supply per year on the market, which suppresses the price. That's inflationary based staking.
Yep.
That's horrible. I don't like that. I don't think we have it anywhere in the ecosystem. Like, for example, and then the other one is you get protocol revenue, which is kind of like Hyper. So what Hyper does is it buys Hyper off market and then distributes 20% to the stakers. So the Hyper staking, inflation doesn't actually come from inflation. It comes from Hyper bought off market. So it doesn't increase total supply.
It's nice.
And then the third version of staking is where you get a percentage of protocol fees that's similar to like DEXs and stuff.
Or
yeah, so there's multiple ways. Yep, correct. Yeah, Titanx would be an example of that. Yeah, we don't have staking here because you want all of it to run through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be kind of like Inferno or something like that. And the contract stuff, yeah, that's coming. Contracts are underway. Audits are underway right now. It's looking good. So yeah, that's the white paper, guys. I mean, I've been talking about it quite a bit on stream, so it shouldn't be a surprise. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. I think one of the big things is one of the things I've noticed amongst the builders in the Titanx ecosystem is for some reason they're allergic to using numbers that are bigger than 2 digits. It's like 3% here, 2% here, 4% here, while we're doing 20%, 30%, 40%, etc. Like, for example, Titanx that goes into Hydra, 20% goes to the DragonX vault, not 3 or 4%. 20% of the DragonX bought off market gets burned. Because there is a diminishing return when it comes to buy and burns, because at the end of the day, buy and burns can get dumped into. So if you have a 70% buy and burn and 90% buy and burn, the difference on price is negligible. Like it's practically zero because it gets dumped into anyway by arbitrages or whatever. So I'm actually proponent of using bigger percentages because it increases the hyperinflationary nature of the center of the ecosystem, which is Titanx, which then increases everything going off to the future. Because you can arbitrage down burn supply. You can arbitrage down a buy and burn, but you can't arbitrage down a deflationary supply. So I'm actually a bigger fan of the bigger percentages.
Yeah, it's a huge amount going into the DragonX vault. It's really, really good. Like it's some other protocols are putting a little bit in, you know, like you're saying, but just having that much really establishes DragonX in the pool. It's going to be amazing for the whole ecosystem.
Yep. For the people that don't understand how the DragonX vault works, because like 50-50, 50% of people know, 50% don't. Mm-hmm. So the Titanx that goes into the DragonX vault gets max staked. At the end of the stake, it gets restaked, so it's forever locked off market, essentially the same as a burn. But then the Ethereum payouts that it gets from the staking pool from Titanx, they takes the Ethereum, buys Titanx, half of that Titanx that it buys. So let's say it gets, it has the ability to buy 100 billion Titanx. 50 billion of that Titanx gets locked up in max stake, so it increases the staking flywheel. So it increases more, it gets more Ethereum payouts as it goes off into the future. And the other 50% gets used to buy and burn DragonX. So it's a perpetual flywheel that only gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. So it's actually better than burning. And you will see the first effects of that on, the big effect of that on day 369. And then if Titanx mining gets profitable again, that will just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time. To the point where Titanx will basically just be 100% buy and burn.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's I'm really looking forward to Titanx mining returning. I mean, that's going to be so bullish for DragonX when we get mining back. This is more burning on DragonX.
Close.
We don't even need it now, but I mean, that's what's so cool about where we're headed with build on Titanx, because you don't even need mining to start again on Titanx. There's so much utility and so much additional burning built on top of Titanx now, and will be in the future. It's really sweet. Like you don't even need that mining ROI from Titanx.
Well, one of the things I've been thinking about is, so on the Titanx stats page, you have the build on Titanx leaderboard. I'm thinking about how to split it up between DragonX and Hydra. So there's 2 ways we can do it. One, we add all the Hydra numbers to DragonX, because Hydra doesn't have a Titanx LP. and the Titanx goes into staking.
Yep.
So it does burn
That's what I would
20% of Titanx. Yeah, so we can add it all to DragonX or add an extra category and then exclude them out. Yeah, we'll have to see how we do that.
I mean, in your table, you could just do like DragonX/Hydra. It's probably good enough.
Yeah.
Or just keep it DragonX because it is ultimately DragonX. It's taking in the Titanx and burning it. So
yeah, true. Yeah, we'll probably end up doing that.
Yeah, I guess Mike Dean's dashboard. I don't know. Does he have Hydra up yet? Titanx Hub. Hydra. Yeah, if we don't have anything burned in there, that's okay. He can leave it on there. It's fine. So yeah, what else? Should we answer some questions? I mean, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
I've actually done like multiple streams where I've kind of described it already. So this is just kind of another release, but
I mean, people seem excited. So the Hyper Telegram has 2,550 members. Hydra already has 1,500, and I think the Telegram has only been out for 2 days roughly.
yeah,
But this could be big because this has a bunch of effects on the ecosystem. Not only does 20% of the Titanx gets burned, 20% of the DragonX, but for people to enter Hydra, they also need to get their hands on Titanx. So they'll either have to mine it if mining is profitable, or they'll have to buy it off Uniswap. So this has a bunch of like second order effects that I think people aren't really realizing. Like, this could be sick. And another interesting game theory element of Hydra is the hyper miners are easier to get your cost basis because Ethereum doesn't move around as much. Titanx moves around massively. Sometimes it's up 5x against Ethereum in like a month. Sometimes it's down 20%. Now with Hydra, you get this interesting game theory where, let's say you enter a Hydra miner when the Titanx price is higher, so your cost basis is higher, but then the Titanx price goes to a correction of 30%. Now you can get Hydra miners at 30% off compared to all the other players in the protocol. Now it also gives a reason to get the dip because your cost basis is lower on Hydra. That's interesting game theory.
That is interesting. Yeah. It would be interesting to see what the market cap will be. I was looking at that market cap. Did you see the market cap ownership of different protocols?
Yeah, I think I saw that chart on Twitter. Yep.
Yeah, DragonX and Titanx are up there, and then I really would be interested to see how much Hydra gets, because it's inflating and it's botted with DragonX, so it could be really, really. It could have a big market cap pretty fast.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be multiple mining waves because we're seeing it now on Hyper. First, you have the launch mining wave, which is always the most insane, and then you have the second wave, which is more stable, and then the vortex keeps filling up. So next waves are stable and stable. Prices move around, which can extend it. Yeah, Hydra is at its core designed to be a compounding protocol. Another interesting game theory about Hydra is you can also use it. So let's say the Hydra game theory is the Hydra mining ROI is at 100%. In theory, if it stays at 100%, you could take a Titanx, start a Hydra miner, sell it back into DragonX, don't go back into Titanx, and it allows you to get DragonX below market. And while doing that, you're burning 20% of the Titanx that went in. So it makes it deflationary as people try to get a better cost basis. It's super interesting, man. Like this, I think once it starts clicking, it's like, oh, like this GIF where like the guy is on the wall with all the papers and the things and the thread connecting. It's gonna get even worse.
Even worse. Yeah. No, it's really interesting because you have DragonX, which is going to be bought and burned first, which will push the mining ROI up before it even hits, before the buy and burn for Hydra even hits. And then DragonX is also becoming more deflationary. But then you will have some people selling into DragonX, maybe exiting all the way down into Titanx through Hydra. So it'll be really interesting, because the supply is going to be decreasing and it will be getting pumped. At the same time, people will be probably taking profits into DragonX.
Yep.
I guess it's
in a perfect world, it would just go into DragonX and not back into Titanx.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what percentage of people do what.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been saying. Like, if you aren't in DragonX and you want to get in, maybe the best thing to do would be to to go through Hydra, because the value of Hydra is being ratcheted up against Dragon X. So it's a good way of entering Dragon X.
I agree. I also saw Stray ask a question when it comes to the initial liquidity pool. So currently it's coded for 25 billion Dragon X and 25 billion Hydra, which is roughly, I think, 650% mining ROI. That's what it shows on Hardhat anyway, which is a local fork, so current prices. So around 600% mining ROI. But we might lower that. It depends. It's going to be anywhere between 10 billion Hydra and 10 billion Dragon X and 25 billion Dragon X and 25 billion Hydra. Because we started building it when the Dragon X price was like 5x lower. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. I think it's actually good if it's higher than Hyper, because then you have, because right now there's a bunch of people who are playing Hyper, like a bunch of expert people who are playing Hyper, and they're using ETH to do it, right? So if we can get them to buy Titan X and go into Hydra, you know?
True. I've also seen people do this like interesting charts of like, okay, take your Ethereum, go into Hyper, sell Hyper to Titan X, take your Titan X, go into Hydra. I was like, damn, okay, interesting.
Yeah. That's some pro moves, but it might actually be the play. Like if you want to get into Dragon X, go ETH. You're in ETH. You go ETH, Hyper. Wait, what's the next one? I guess you have to sell down
Titan X into Hyper.
Titan X. Yeah, Titan X into Hydra.
Yep.
Hydra to Dragon X.
Yeah, but the liquidity pool is going to be thick. Like I think 25 billion Dragon X now it's a good chunk of money. Let's see. That's like 218,000.
That's a lot.
I remember it being nothing. Yeah.
Did you ever consider like a minimum mining period?
Like you mean 8 days, 28 days, or what do you mean?
Like to start a miner, like what would you mean?
I mean as like a general rule of thumb, or in the protocol?
Yeah, as it like in the protocol. Is there a minimum in the protocol?
Yeah, just 1 day. There's no real minimum above that.
Like what do you think the effect? Do you think there'll be a positive effect if that was done?
I mean, the game theory on shorter term miners is they pay a higher cost basis, much higher cost basis, so they can push down the price while feeding the protocol the exact same. So it's actually really good if mining ROI stays high and people do shorter term miners, because their cost base is higher, so they can push down the price, which keeps the mining ROI high. So having a short term miner cycle is actually extremely positive for the ecosystem. So I'm actually a big fan of short miners from a game theory perspective. It's definitely more risky from a user perspective, but sometimes it works. Like on Titan X, it worked wonders, for the people that did it.
Yeah. That's 600, 700% we're thinking for the max mining length, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that would be. Maybe I still have it here. Nah, I don't have the contracts deployed. But yeah, it will go down. I think at 600% mining ROI, I think like 10-day miners are profitable, 5-day miners.
Kind of impact you see when an app is built. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think Volt is going to build on Hydra. So they're going to have whatever they're building on now, and they're also going to have a Hydra support. I think that's awesome. Like I would love to see that be something that people build on, because that's a huge lever, as I was saying before, like for burning Titan X and Dragon X.
It is, and in theory, Hydra should also follow Titan X price action, because the cost basis is in Titan X. So by building on Hydra, you're kind of following the Titan X price action. Because if Titan X goes up 10x, the mining cost goes up 10x on Hydra, which increases the floor. Yeah, which Hyper doesn't have, because the cost basis is based in E. So Hydra is more how do you say it? More applicable to build on than Hyper, if you want to track Titan X.
When you sell down Hyper to recompound, you're going back into ETH or back into Titan X?
Yep, back into ETH.
Back into ETH. Yeah. I'm not sure what this is. Day 333. Any plans? 50% ownership. We have there are no founder allocations or anything for this token. It's just totally.
Oh yeah, correct. There's no Genesis.
Yeah, no genesis.
Yep, everything goes back into the ecosystem.
30 miners on next were pretty awesome at launch.
Trent says, any idea why slippage is so high right now to swap Titan X for Dragon X? I've tried smaller, and you have to make sure you're going through the right pool, but Titan X Dragon X is pretty tight.
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
It depends on what amount. Let's actually see.
If we're doing no genesis, so I guess we're not going to be. There's no real need to create another pair for Hydra, right? Like it's just focused entirely on that one compounding pair. So there's no reason to have like extra inflation for that.
True. I mean, there is game theory. If there is built on Hydra protocols, you can use it to thicken the buy side liquidity of that Hydra pair. Yeah.
You would be introducing inflation in that case, though, right? You did that.
If it is within sellable range, yeah. If you do full range, it's very hard to get all of it out the liquidity pool. You might be able to get 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you do full
if it ends
range,
up
it has to go down 99% to get most of it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no reward. Like, there's no reward for any devs or anyone deploying this protocol. If there was going to be inflation in Hydra, it would only be to incentivize like the appropriate pairs. Keys and contracts. I'm not sure what you mean about that. I don't know, Jake. Do you see any value in L1 being built? I remember I was teasing this idea to you before. I was like, man, when gas fees gets high, let's do like some kind of side chain or something.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, we definitely have the firepower to do it with the community and the builders. Like, we have more builders than fucking L2s and some L1s.
Yeah, we do.
I was so small, it's insane. So we definitely have the community to do it. But it would need some very interesting tokenomics.
I have some ideas. I was talking to Jack Levin, and he has some good ideas for X1. Maybe if we were to do that, we could use some of those. But what I like about Titan X is that it's like a mining platform already, right? So it's like that can be your like consensus kind of in a way, right? Like, and then you use that to exchange for a network token. So like you burn Titan X to get a network token, but if you want to get into the network and get tokens, you have to either buy on market or mine Titan X. So that's like the hook.
Interesting.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, because there are a bunch of improvements to be made when it comes to actual chains. Because most chains, they have centralized sequencers, meaning they can just turn off the chain whenever the hell they want, which sucks. And yeah, then another issue with L1s is they have a token, but the token doesn't have actual value outside of governance, so that people don't need to use the token as the gas fee on the network. So it's just kind of there for value extraction, basically, and for VCs to dump on the community. There's no reason for those L2 tokens to exist. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it would need to be. I mean, maybe when the gas fees get higher, right? Like, let's get to 50,000 users and something like that, and then probably gas will be crazy, and then you could do something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, could be the next step. Who knows?
I feel like
then you would definitely need you would definitely need an ERC20 bridge, so all the Titan X protocol tokens can come over without redeploying their protocols. Although they could, but then they can pair the new protocols to the old protocols with the ERC20 wrapped token from Ethereum on that chain. That's a very interesting game theory that can be done.
You could have like cross chain farm. Like you come over, you farm your pairs from ETH to. We already have the most hardcore farming platform ever devised. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, let's see. What else we got? Yeah, the Dragon X dip was absolutely canceled, guys. I'm really disappointed. I expected somebody to dump. We were trending down, but no. You guys love to just go up forever.
I mean, it is kind of, because I was listening to your stream yesterday with Marco, And Marco was like, I'm afraid to sell my Dragon X because I know I'll never get it back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're thinking the same way.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, this is one. You're not getting it.
Yeah, that's the whale. I mean, the whales are real veterans in Dragon X. That's one awesome thing about Dragon X. It's like I love starting small, man. Like it's a different ethos, but we're just getting such high quality users. You know, producing so much volume, so much trading activity, so much buy pressure from just a few hundred people. It's amazing. Like I'd rather like just grow like this with so many good users. You know.
I mean, you bring up a good point. Like when you look at the Dragon X holder, it's only 2,386 people. That's nothing. That's zero.
Yeah.
That's crazy because Dragon X itself has 13,000, and some meme coins have like 150,000 users.
I know. Like we have the same market cap as Daddy Token, and we have 2,000 users. You know, and like you can actually.
I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Like literally the most famous guy on the internet can't even surpass us. Just some fucking nerds.
I know. It's insane.
That just shows you how crypto likes crypto native people, man. You have to think crypto to make it in crypto.
We have a competitive advantage because we actually understand the industry. Yeah, if you go to yeah, you're looking at 500 buyers doing 3.2 million in buy pressure today. Oh, no, 484K in buy pressure today.
You use DEX tools?
This is a Morales money. Let me share it.
Oh, interesting. I always use DEX Screener. Yeah, on DEX Screener it shows 303K volume with 132 makers. But maybe Morales adds up like all the pools. Could also be. Probably something like that.
You see that?
Yeah, now that makes sense. Yeah, Morales adds up all the pairs for the volume.
Yeah, I mean I see 3.2 mil buy, so total aggregate buy pressure is 484. So it's actually 3.2 mil in buy pressure 3.2 mil in buys, 484 in buy pressure. From
That's interesting. I might start using that.
People. Isn't that nuts
Nice.
though? That's like not a lot of people.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Let's see what else they got in here. Just holders. Yeah.
Mackenzie also asked, is September still a possibility for launch? Oh hell yeah. Hell yeah. We got the results for the first audit back today. And there's no critical issues whatsoever. There's just one thing with the initial pool creation, but we know that. That's not even an issue. It just has to be done. And then that's it. Other than that, it's just informational. Because the code is already 5 times audited. Because Hyper was based on the Titan X code, which was triple audited with some minor tweaks. 90% of the code was the same. Then Hyper was double audited. And Hydra is variation of Hyper with different pools and different parameters. So this will be essentially 6 times audited code for 90% of it. And the auditor that we're using is really good. So usually if he doesn't find anything, like, it's very hard to break it.
Yeah, is what is that? What is the code diff? Like how many lines? It can't be a lot, right?
I would say 90% the same, because it's mainly removals. We removed a bunch of stuff from Hyper, like all the bonuses and stuff. And then other than that, it's different pools and different mining costs because it's based in Titan X. Yeah, so I would say 90% the same code. And the differences are mainly just removed functions and removed calculations.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Jake, when you built this, did you ever envision having a strong community, having this many protocols in the pipeline? Perfect timing for the bull market.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like the builded functions were initially built just for me. And then all of a sudden, I think the first one was the NFTs from Titan Legends, and then the second actual protocol was Dragon X. And after that, it just went insane. And then you had wait, did Helios launch before or after Dragon X?
After.
After. Yeah, so it was Titan Legends, Dragon X, Helios, and then after that, it just went insane. At this point, we can't even control it anymore. There's like projects popping up. I was talking to 2 different builders from Solana yesterday. Like,
oh, nice.
I don't even know at this point.
That's fantastic. X28 launch. Do you want to comment on that? If no comment, that's cool.
After inflation is over, because that's going to be the ultimate burner, ultimate renaissance of hyperdeflationary.
I've been advocating for pre-369.
But the thing is, I don't think people will burn their stakes. I don't think it's worth the breaking the super hyperdeflationary narrative for like an extra 3% of stakes that get burned. Because Hydra is feeding the Dragon X Vault. So that's going to increase the staking position massively before the 369. So if I was a user, I'm not staking for 369. Just leave it at Dragon X. It's better for the ecosystem. And it's going to be impossible to compete anyway, especially after Hydra.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. People are going after it. Oh, man. I'm actually surprised we haven't had at least one whale like dump with a vengeance. It's really impressive.
Right? Oh.
I'm just so traumatized from Hex, man. Like, it took 20,000 users for Hex to do its first 10x. You believe that? 20,000.
That's crazy. I wasn't around for the launch of Hex.
Imagine if we had 20K and we'd already be $1 billion token.
I mean, that's the power of hyperdeflationary, because the biggest thing that Hex had is just all this future inflation, all these bonus from these early whales. It's like, it's impossible to, especially once you're like at 100,000 users, it's impossible to overpower that with just adoption, because the inflation is just so damn big. Yeah. And there's some games playing that like 3.69 inflation. If you account for like T-shares and stuff, maybe it's 2.5%, but that's including the OA. If you exclude the OA, it's actually 25% a year user inflation, which is extremely hard to overpower as a narrative alone. So yeah, hyperdeflationary is so much better. So much better. I love it.
Good whales and hungry sharks and American eggs. When launch? Soon. Very, very soon. Jake, any comments on Titan X surpassing pulse chain volume?
Yeah, that was partly due to an MEV bot, but it's great marketing. Oh yeah, we did 2 days straight. I think 3 days straight now. I just compare where they're at. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, people always ape in. I mean, it's just like people, the masses will come later, I think. People will ape in. You know, a lot of people don't even buy tokens that are like less than 50 million market cap or 100 million market cap.
I noticed that. Yeah, there's this weird like psychological level where people feel comfortable going in at higher prices because they believe a higher market cap is safer. But I'm actually programmed for the opposite. I believe the lower is safer. But yeah, it's just different players coming in. Because if you're a whale that has like, let's say an 18 million portfolio, you probably don't allocate less than 200K into a token. If the liquidity pool has less than 200K available, or you slip the price against yourself to like 50% while entering, it's just not attractive. And these guys are happy with like a 3x on their money, because they're playing with bigger amounts. Like once you hit certain market cap and liquidity targets, you just get a different type of user coming in. And they're usually long term. They just buy and they just forget about it. Or they buy and they're like, okay, I'm holding this for 2 years. Then they set a timer and they check after 2 years. They're just different people. The short term people are usually smaller players. You don't really see whales going in and out.
Someone asked about a second audit. I don't know if we necessarily need one, because we can assess. We need to have a meeting and assess whether we think we should do one based on the results of the last audit.
Yeah. My rule for multiple audits is if it's a brand new code base like X28, we're getting 2 audits minimum. But the rule I always follow is as long as there's no high or medium issues from the first audit, is usually good. But if you do a first audit and you find 3 like critical or high vulnerabilities or medium vulnerabilities, then it's really good to do a second. Yeah, but this code base is very well audited. Like, not worried about it.
Can we use stakes of Titan-X? No, you cannot mine Hydra with Titan-X stakes. Only X28 for that. Oh, cryptographics is here. Man, I will get you on 1 second.
Hey, cryptographics, don't check the Hydra chat. People were slapping you awake with gifts and stuff.
Okay. You should be able to stream from your channel now. It's crazy. It's just the white paper reveal. It's popping off in here. 1,000 views.
Right? Oh, the Telegram chat was amazing, getting up to 1,500. It felt like the high school group chat vibe. You remember like MSN where you can nudge people and buzz people? It reminded me of
It's
that.
getting real degen. I loved it. Yeah, Hydra's where all the cool goods are.
And there's so much stuff coming up.
Yeah, we have X28, Volt, Flux,
Element 280,
Element 280, Hydra,
Aviator X, Hydra. I'm aware of a couple others, but I don't want to mention until we know. Titan Farms, obviously.
Titan Farms.
Ouroboros, also. Jesus Christ. Good.
I know. We need more users, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
we desperately need more users. We have like enough apps for 100,000 people at this point. We're coming in the next few weeks.
Yep.
But it is actually uncanny.
Also, I think.
What's up?
The Legend X also from the Titan Legends NFTs.
Kevin Lightup says, thank you too for all your hard work. Yeah, sure, man. Jake's the coder. I'm just the pretty face, as we say.
You inspired the beard. For some reason, my beard makes me like banana face. My beard is like, nah, I'm growing like this.
Me too. Yeah, it's a little bit banana. It's okay. It looks great, man. You have a sick warrior beard now. Welcome to the club of men. What is he saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting how low the fees are. What do you think about the fees? What do you think they'll be like in a few months?
I think it'll stay like this because now you have layer 2s with very low blob fees. So a lot of the activity goes towards layer 2s. Now there's a lot more adoption of cross swap and omni-chain swap technology. So like for example, Stargate, I think you can do swaps on Ethereum and it just routes through base fees and then goes back to Ethereum. I don't think the gas fees are going to go insane on Ethereum anymore.
That's super bullish.
And then you have sharding. Yeah. And if base can exceed on like their gas or like their block size increase, they could adopt that into Ethereum. I think Ethereum has a fine scalability roadmap if they just operate quicker. Because usually in Ethereum time, if they want to upgrade something in a year, just add 2 or 3 years through it. Like if they say a year, it's 4 years. It's general Ethereum roadmap. But so far, it's been good. Like claiming miners $3, starting miners $2, $3. It's just kind of like any financial transaction ever, but like financial style products. So I think it's fine at this point.
Yeah, Ahmed says we're so fucking early. Yeah, we are early, man. It's actually like we're not just early, but we're doing things that no one else is doing right now. Like we have the green candles. We have the most excited community. People are going crazy on Twitter. Like we're building the coolest shit. Our stuff's super secure. Like it's just, we're doing some stuff that no one else is doing. You know, I feel like this is really becoming the home of DeFi this cycle. It's really awesome.
I agree. We even have borrowing and lending coming.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, we might be forced to build an L1. Maybe like years from now.
This is what you want. I mean, what you want is like, I mean, Zen got a lot of users, but then the price just collapses. But, you know, we're doing the opposite. Like we're doing the hard work of building the protocols first, making them really solid, really secure, building some diehard users. So if you wanted to do a chain, I mean, I think that's a better base to go off of.
I agree. I've seen the playbook work out will. For because there's a bunch of chains that were built with a community first, and then they started building a chain later. And the community is nowhere near the dedication of the Titanx community, and nowhere near the marketing of the Titanx community. Yeah, it's just a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open to it.
Cool. What is the starting amount of hyper amount of blonde I want?
Same as Hyper and Titanx is 8 million.
Okay. Feels like you mean like a few months ago? Like it's almost a year, I guess, right? Wow, it's been a year
10
almost.
months, 11 days.
Jesus.
Crazy, right?
This has been a crazy first year.
It has. Man, there's so much stuff I want to say, but you just can't say as a founder. You know? So I'm like, okay, how can I do it philosophically?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to err on the side of. I mean, I never give financial advice, but I'm talking about the price a lot in my tweets. It's just fun. Like I can't help myself. I mean, Richard did the same thing, you know, like $1 million hacks and all this stuff. It's too much fun not to talk about the chart, man.
But that was insane. I remember that like blue line. I was like, dude, I want whatever the hell he's smoking. Jesus Christ.
Man. Yeah, I haven't heard from the Pulsar team in a while, actually. I don't know.
I know of something, but I'm not sure if they want me to say it online. Yo, it's been a while. You have the Titanx screen in the background?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you for getting up early for this, man.
Oh, no problem. I was happy I got up when I did because this is sick. This is great news to wake up to. Forced down a couple of coffees and let's go. So I haven't even had a chance to read the white paper yet. The only thing that's touched my brain this morning has been my coffee. So I got to get up to speed.
No worries.
Okay, what you guys want to give me the quick and dirty here so I don't have to bore the chat, and then we can go as deep as we want.
You do it. I need to get something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I mean, we're building off Hyper, right? So it's but rather than using Ethereum, we're using Titanx miners as mining. Right. And so basically what we do, and I think we talked a little bit about this, is we're going to be able to hit all of the people in Titanx that have yet to basically come in and participate in something like Hyper because it uses ETH. Right? So we're going to have this huge adoption. And rather than just burn the tokens, we're going to be using the DragonX Vault. 20% of everything that comes in to miners will be used to be sent to the DragonX Vault, which is excellent for compounding the value there, getting more ETH. And the rest will go into a DragonX buy contract, I guess, right, Jake, effectively? Titanx to DragonX. So you're going to have this new, basically like V1 buy and burn for DragonX, or V3 buy and burn for DragonX, if you consider the 369 and 888 payout.
That's actually so sick. Man, I literally just released a video on my channel this morning talking about where the buy and burn was at and talking about what Hydra was going to do. And this is so sick that everyone can actually see what I was just referring to in this video I released this morning. Because like there's so much in the buy and burn already. And if this thing actually cooks at all, like does well at all, the amount of ETH that's going to be in this whole system is going to be like nuts. And then it's just this compounding flywheel effect. I hope people understand this. Like Hydra has the potential to kickstart such a massive chain reaction with all these systems that are already there that are kind of entangled. Like, man, so exciting.
Yeah, it's sick. It's so sick.
It really is. So what's the okay, you've got 20% going to 20% of the Titanx going to the DragonX Vault. I saw from Jake your post there's two of them. So there's a vortex, obviously, right? For day 8 it's 98, right? Every 98 days. And it starts the first time this time.
Yep.
Right?
All of it starts the first time.
Right. And that's 10%. What is it? Is it 10% of Titanx? 10% of DragonX? What is it again?
So currently it's 8% of Titanx that goes into miners and 10% of DragonX bought on market. But we're thinking about increasing that to 10% of Titanx from miners and 18% of DragonX bought off market. Because the vortex is really powerful at protecting the mining ROI after the first max miner phase. Because the max miner phase is 88 days, the vortex triggers after. That's very, very powerful to kickstart because the hardest part of the system is the launch phase. after the first Marx minor cycle, and after that, it's very easy to get stable. Very easy. Yeah, so that's why the vortex was set up like that.
Sweet. No, I love that.
By the way, cryptographics, you can stream from your YouTube channel too. I sent the invite link should allow that. So if you wanted to see if you could get a few more on Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah, let me. You know what? I want to do this properly on my channel where I have like the thumbnail, get people like ready to rock. I'm gonna do it later today, but I want to have I don't have my intro and stuff like that. I know I'm funny like that, but I want to do that so everyone's it's like a branded, it's on brand, you know. But I'll blast this out right now on Twitter, and yeah, of course. But I'll get another one going later today. This is so exciting, man. Okay, so you've got 20% going to the Dragon X vault. You've got 8% of the Dragon X that is being burnt or bought is going to the Vortex. 10%. So you have 30, 40%, 30, 32%, 38%. Sorry. So 38%. That's if I'm getting that math right, is all kind of vault and Vortex related, and then you also have the last 72%. So what's happening there?
There is a buy-in. So of the 80% of Dragon X, sorry, of the 80% of Titan X that is not sent to the Dragon X vault, that is used to swap for Dragon X. 20% of the Dragon X that's bought is burned. Sweet. And then the remaining 80% of that Dragon X is used as a buy and burn and goes into the Vortex.
How much? And so how much of the total percent would be being going from Dragon X into Hydra?
Well, let's actually use numbers. So let's say 100 billion Titan X comes in from miners. 20 billion of that Titan X goes to the Dragon X vault. 80 billion Titan X buys the Dragon X on market. So let's assume it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now it has 80 billion Dragon X. 16 billion, 20% of that would go to burn. So it would just be burned. And then the remaining Dragon X, which in this case is 18 minus 16, 64, I think. 64 billion Dragon X would buy Hydra via Dragon X Hydra pair and burn Hydra 100%. There's no stake in a Hydra. Right. So this makes Titan X hyperdeflationary, Dragon X hyperdeflationary, and burns Hydra.
That's sick.
It's massive. It's so great.
Half of the stream is just us being amazed. That's so funny because we made the thing.
I think that's when you know you've made something that is in the right direction. When you keep looking at it, you're like, damn.
Well, I mean, it's also something to impress upon the user because it is pretty good. Like it does a lot for the whole ecosystem.
Well, I think the biggest take, the thing that I would stress to anyone watching to understand is, I mean, you know, you spoke about this originally, Jake, and I thought this was like one of the coolest concepts to think about originally. But now that we're actually here, it's even more profound to me is the Archimedes lever, and talking about how, you know, you stretch out this lever further and further. So you've got Titan X, which has Dragon X built on it, which has now Hydra, like a perfect chain that way. But you also kind of have this side thing of a hyper, which is over here, which, I mean, you could maybe link in to that. But I would say the longest lever so far is going to be Titan X to Dragon X to Hydra. And that alone is so powerful because, I mean, you've got obviously the buy and burns for Titan X. You've got its own demand, its own diminishing supply. It's going to go deflationary come November. Then you have the Dragon X buy and burn that's going to gain, I think it's like a couple $1 million as of right now before Hydra changes everything for its ability to get more ETH in the 888-day payout, right? So it's going to increase its position there, which is going to deflate the Titan X supply alone. Now you have Hydra, which is going to come in. It is going to deflate Dragon X. It's going to increase the value of Dragon X. It is going to put more value into the staking pool. So it's going to get more money or more ETH, from this ETH from the staking pool, which is going to push the price of Titan X up, which is going to push the price of Dragon X up, you know, by bonding by proxy. And then you have Hydra, which is going to be feeding into Titan X or into the demand for Titan X and pushing up the price of the buy and burn of Dragon X. And this chain will go on and on and on. And because of the high level of buy and burn, I think the one thing that's special about this is you're going to have no, I mean, it obviously depends on how the buy and burn set. I think this is the cool part is you can't predict this. So, I mean, it sounds like there's been so much learned. That's why Hydra's the way it is now, that I'd be curious to see how the buy and burn is operated this time around, to see supply come up. But that being said, I mean, with the amount the buy and burn has at capacity, it could really, if things are done really well, could send or could optimize the function of these flywheels, so to speak, to a level people aren't ready for. And it's a possibility. I don't want to overhype things too, but this is just the truth of, like, when you get one thing that completes a system, so to speak, or really puts rocket fuel in it. I mean, it can change a lot of things so fast.
I think we can do more adoption than Hyper. What do you think, Jake? Like, we did 10 million in the first month, 10 million USD, 3,000 ETH. I feel like the sentiment is better than it was when Hyper launched, and the mechanics are more favorable to with Liquid Titan X.
I don't even think it's a question, personally. I think it's so different now.
And we have 40 mil on the market right now. So I mean, if we can get half of that into Hydra, imagine that'll be sick. Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest. So I think there was 3 things that turned people off from Hyper. Now, I think the first thing was ETH, because people didn't understand it. They were expecting Titan X, and they just got they mentally got rug pulled in that sense, where they're like, and they just didn't want to. Like, if you look at the chart that day, there was a red candle the day that Hyper launched, and it was and it was opposite when Dragon X obviously launched. Actually, that whole first week or two of the launch phase, it was going up. So Hyper kind of, I think the first thing that people didn't like was obviously not utilizing Titan X. The second thing was, I don't think people understood how to play the game. And then I think because a lot of bigger players came in, they did do shorter miners. The price went down. Everyone stopped understanding it. I think there was a lot of panic going on. Even for me, I wasn't sure what was happening, because it was in terms of watching it unfold, it was a little confusing to make sense of what was going on with all the parts, with like liquidity and the supply coming out and all these different kind of moving dynamic parts. And obviously, looking back, it makes perfect sense why, if you go back and look at the price chart and you look at supply and you look at what's happening now, I think it's actually worked out quite well. And obviously, because mining started 30 some days ago again, and a lot of it or more. Like, how long ago did mining start again? And it's because it's really poured on.
Oh yeah, Hyper is going hard. I would say it started roughly 40 days ago ish.
Right.
Is when it really started picking up again.
Right.
Yeah, but I think the big innovation for Hyper and Hydra was the Vortex. Because the Vortex gives an event after the max miner cycle that is forced buy pressure on both buyers. So the Titan X that goes into the Vortex buys Dragon X. So you have a guaranteed buyer of Dragon X in the future, written in code. And you have a buyer for Hydra with the Dragon X that was bought off market that is sent to the Vortex. So you have 2 guaranteed buyers after the max miner cycle. So what happened with Hyper is people completely lost track. And the way crypto operates, it's like this. Everybody has seen this like a regression to mean curve where it overvalued, undervalued, overvalued, undervalued, overvalued, undervalued, and it's like this elliptic curve or whatever it's called.
Yep.
It was just so goddamn undervalued that people were just like, wait, what the hell? The Vortex is bigger than whatever Hyper is worth, and then it just did a 50x. So I think people will have learned a lesson from Hyper. But some of these opportunities, like this is important in crypto, is people don't know how to value things, because it's not like the stock market where you have a bunch of quant trading firms, especially not like an advanced ecosystem with like different pairs like Titan X. People undervalue things like crazy because they don't know how to value it, which opens up crazy opportunities. Like Dragon X, even it went under the 1-to-1 peg down to like 0.5. And if you do the math from that, it's like Dragon X did an 80 or 120x because people undervalued it. There's a lot of opportunity in undervalued stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Big time. And I think people are, my battery's draining already. Damn. I think people are, I was going to say too, is on that note too, it's been interesting to watch. There's been a pattern on the charts. of talking about undervalue, there's been a very, very interesting correlation of like Hyper, Dragon X, and even Titan X now all have very similar charts in the way they're operating. And I think that shows you how just what you're saying, how people are psychologically, they're out of touch with when the actual undervalue, overvalue points are. And man,
everyone just swung back into the ecosystem again. Like, yeah, it was completely dead, and then people just swung back, started to take interest, and everything just went up.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and to tie that into Hydra, I mean, like that also kind of gives some insight as to the importance of, I think, for at least in my opinion, for the two of you, like being like what I've seen the last couple of weeks, I think has been really powerful, has been, or a few weeks maybe, which has been your guys' engagement with the community and being more vocal on Twitter, and that I think has made a massive difference. And then plus having Hydra come out on top of that, I mean, that's like compound interest, man. And then knowing that X28 is in the bag, you got who knows what else you guys have cooking at this point, honestly. I mean, like, we'll see. But I think when people have, I mean, you guys both know as well as I do, like the Hex community, Pulse Chain community, was doing as well as it was when Richard was streaming. And he was talking all the time, whether he was being humble or whether he was being cocky or throwing shit in people's faces. Like when his face was public and people could come and hang out with them, even for a moment, or ask him questions or see what's going on, like, dude, it was lights out. And I think this recent turnaround in sentiment has, and at least in the last few weeks, has large part to do with that effect here, I think, for you guys as well. I think it's going to compound as well as you guys stay public, stay talking about Hydra, stay talking about Titan X, stay talking about what's coming. I think you guys are going to only compound this this ecosystem's eyes. Because you were saying the other day, Jake, I think you saw it, was it you or I thought it was you. You're saying you were talking to someone about Solana, and you have someone on Solana hitting you up. Like, what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, there were like two different Solana builders. They came out of nowhere. I noticed yesterday I saw a guy tweet from like the Solana community, because I knew he was from the Solana community because of his profile, and he used the word trenches. Because for some reason they love being depressed over on Solana, so they're like, "Oh, I'm in the trenches."
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I saw a guy on Twitter. Then two builders reached out to me from the Solana ecosystem on Telegram, and they were all interested in building on Titan X. The funny thing is that in the public facing I've seen from people from Solana is they think Titan X is an L1, which is interesting. Because they're like, oh, there's so much building on this. Like, because people have never seen something like this where it's a token-centric ecosystem where you leverage the chain that you're on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was very interesting to see. And I've seen a lot of builders come in recently in the last 2 weeks that are non-ecosystem builders. Because a lot of the public-facing builders you see are people have built an ecosystem or are active in the ecosystem. People kind of know them. Mm-hmm. But now I've seen an influx of like outside builders coming in, and they're asking questions like, "Hey, how the hell do you build on Titan X? Like, what kind of rules are there to follow? Like, how do you actually build an ecosystem?" So those questions have been interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm not a fan of Solana. Yeah. I like the chain, but the culture is garbage culture. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just get glimpses.
Ethereum is so much more professional.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool though. It's cool that eyes are coming from all, even if it's small amounts at a time. If other eyes are noticing this whole ecosystem, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's super noteworthy. Who knows what will happen next, man? And I mean, dude, like this is the crazy thing is, you guys, we all, this whole community, this ecosystem is getting eyes at a phase where we're not even in the midst of when all the eyes are looking at this entire space. Like, getting noticed when no one's looking is a pretty big deal, I think.
We're defining the market right now.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. If you look at so from day 280, Ethereum went from roughly 2,500 to 2,250. So almost a 33% drop. In that same time period, Titan X went up 541% against Ethereum. That's a 6.4x against Ethereum. We're an altcoin. We're supposed to go down. Like, if that's not a hard signal, I don't know what is. Like, that's insane. And then you have these influencers like, oh yeah, everything in crypto is going down. No altcoin is going up. I'm like, dude. And I know they know it because they're following me. So like, they 100% know we're going up, and they're just ignoring it. And I don't know why. Because this is a fair launched ecosystem. It's not like there's an OA that owns 95% of the supply. Like, it's the community doing this. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand why people are so hesitant to talk about it.
It's the lack of being paid cold hard cash. I think might have something to do with it. That's how these KOLs operate. I mean, I've talked to dozens of big KOLs.
What does KOL mean again? I keep hearing this freaking acronym.
Key opinion leader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's such a MBA. Like I don't know why people say it, but there are a few good guys. Like Joe Parrish reached out to me, and he just wants to get involved because it's good for his reputation to have something that's so high quality, like for him to support that.
100%.
So there are some top tier guys who are coming over slowly, but I think a lot. I mean, from what I've seen, all the big names I mean these guys, they just take cash. They don't give a damn. Or they might take it if they're going to get 10% of the supply, then they might care, but they're not going to do it for less.
Yeah, it's pay to play for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, and this is why it's so important to have community-based streamers. Because I saw like 2 or 3 pictures on Twitter of like people buying gear and like setting up their stream of like the community. It's so cool. Like Richie started streaming. Henny also started. Just bought a webcam, so he wants to start streaming. Mo is like hardcore streaming now. Then you have Crypto Kindness that's coming back. We have you. I'm streaming. Eric is streaming. Ali, the Blaze team, Josh, Scott. I think we have close to 20 plus streamers in the ecosystem, which is crazy. Like that's right.
Yeah, respect to Mo. I mean, he's been like just doing tons of videos and being super engaged over this and through the hard parts too. He was always there supporting Titan. So on the launch day, we're streaming. You guys are welcome to come as well. We can make it into a big party.
Nice. I'll probably be stressing out.
Yeah.
So I'll join after a little bit. After I've taken a shit, then I'm like, okay, I'm calm down. I'll come on stream.
Do you have enough nicotine gum stocked for that day, Jake?
Oh yes, I do. I basically own a nicotine shop at this point.
When
Good.
are you gonna graduate to pouches, man?
I tried. The thing is, I get a headache from couches because they're such high dose. I like the 200 gram ones. I just stick with that.
That's good.
Also, I think in pouches there's also some toxic stuff. So I never really got attracted to pouches.
Interesting.
Is there
an advantage to mining Hydra early? Yeah, because you're getting the supply first. There's always an advantage during launch. But there's no need to ape in. If you know what you're doing, then fine, ape in. But if you don't know what you're doing, there's space. There's plenty of space to think. Because even if you miss the first miner wave, you can join the second miner wave after the vortex. If you know what you're doing, definitely you feel comfortable with it because you've seen it happen multiple times, different variations, like next Hyper, Helios. But yeah, take your time to learn for sure. Especially the early claim miner. Early claim miners, study it, like really, because it shows you the calculations on the UI, so you know whether or not it's a good decision. So you're not left in the dark or whatever. It shows you very clearly, okay, this is what's happening when you click early claim. Shows you the calculations. So yeah, just learn before clicking buttons.
Yes, the beards are looking on point, boss man. I agree.
I gotta work on mine.
Graphics. Yes, man. Yes.
I'm working on it. It's catching up slowly here.
I love it, dude. Yeah, new rule on my YouTube channel is only bearded streamers allowed.
Love it.
Poor Ali. Ali always gets laughed at for not having a beard. He's a good
Come on, Ali. Trust the beards. That's right. Hydra miners. I guess it's connected to Ethereum through many tokens through by DragonX, by TitanX. But
yeah, it will be more expensive when Ethereum goes up. Yeah, because you kind of get a double lever effect. Well, no, single lever effect because Ethereum price goes up, TitanX price goes up with it because it's priced in it. Yeah, Hydra has this very interesting game theory where the cost basis is way less predictable because TitanX price is massively volatile. If you want volatility to the upside, you also have to accept it to the downside. So at some point, like if you start a TitanX miner before TitanX price does hypothetically a 3x, you have a 3x lower cost basis than Hydra because it's priced in TitanX. So the Hydra miners there's way more game theory attached to having a good cost basis when it comes to TitanX, which is interesting.
That is actually super interesting from a supply dynamics kind of point of view, because, you know, typically like from Hyper or Titan X, for example, the only thing controlling the supply in terms of like not as like a control mechanism, a buffer, is the buy and burns, really, right? Versus this, now you're going to have a buy and burn, and you're going to have a lever that's making things extra volatile. So you're going to have moments where the buy and burn doesn't even necessarily need to kick in to dampen supply and control the supply. So you should get a much more compressed supply outcome this time around, theoretically, you know, which is totally different, which I think that's a really cool thing this time around.
Yeah, I mean the buy and burn for Dragon X affects, you know, you can the buy Dragon X contract will affect the Hydra price, right, without even having the burn happen, which is cool.
I mean, the thing, yeah, I think the crazy part of this system is the fact that there's a hyperdeflationary thing in the middle, which is Dragon X. Because people hate selling hyperdeflationary stuff. Hate it. Because they know deep down, like, nah, this is probably not stopping. So they're like very hesitant to sell it. And another thing is like, this is just a general community thing. When you do single side liquidity exit positions, if you do want to exit your position, make sure you don't do like $750,000 single liquidity positions. If you have like a $750,000 position, like single side liquidity, like 20, 30K at a time, and slowly like do it over time. Don't put like this massive sell. Because I saw this well with like 150 billion Dragon X. He's just like, bam. And then we ran through it. But usually it's a good idea to just do it in slow chunks. Yeah, but he's out now. He single side liquidity everything.
Okay.
Which is good. But it's better to just do it in chunks, because otherwise you create this scare factor on the chart.
How much did he get? Did he get 1 mil out?
Close to.
Yeah. Did he sell that? Did he sell Titan X, or did he keep the Titan X?
I have tracked his wallet since.
Okay.
The last thing I saw is he just kept the Titan X. Yeah, but he seems like a good actor. He single side liquidity. He could have murdered the price, but he didn't. And now he's just chilling. Yeah, so I don't think he's much of a risk. Seems like a good actor.
Let's see what else we have for comments.
If you guys have any questions, post them in the stream comments.
Run bull tart.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You wanna run ahead of the bull tarts for sure.
What a word. What a word.
Ali, I can't wait for you to grow a beard and get on my stream, Ali. It's gonna be amazing. And get a green circle around your fucking photo there.
Yeah, we need the peer pressure. Green circle.
Come on, man. You're Irish. You need emerald green circle.
Yeah, let's morally peer pressure him. You're Irish. Come on, green.
Hydra is a leverage on Dragon X. Yeah, in a way, it is a leverage on Dragon X. I mean, the buy and burn is going in and buying Hydra off the market, pushing it up. So that's going to be so interesting to see. Oh, hey, Verse. Hey, man, we got a stream. Yeah, when Hydra's out, we'll definitely do a stream. Marco. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Dragon X. I kind of wish it was direct. I mean, the buy and burn will obviously be measured out, but it would be very interesting if it was just a direct buy on Dragon X. All of that economic energy.
Yeah, but the issue you get with that is like, it would be insane, but it would just be exit liquidity. Because miners come in waves. Everything in crypto kind of operates in waves. Like even when you see a chart goes up, it's staircases. Like there's user adoption and there's no user adoption, and there's user adoption. Like linear growth doesn't really exist in crypto, at least not for a sustained period of time. So miners are the same. Like usually the reason the buy and burns on Titan X and stuff are so far apart, like 3 hours, 4 hours, and 40 minutes, is because you want to make dumpers feel impatient, because otherwise they constantly use the buy and burn as exit liquidity. So you want them to dump before the buy and burn, so the buy and burn can buy more supply. So having more time in between gives them time to get impatient. Because usually sellers, when they sell, they don't really slowly sell unless they're like a feather and whale. They just like they sell and they dump. People like for some reason short-term players, they just don't understand slowly exiting and getting a better price and not eating slippage. They're just like, I clicked the sell button once. Now I'm going schizophrenic and I'm just pressing it as much as I can. Like for some reason, people operate like that. So you want to give them time to dump in between the buy and burns because it creates a more sustainable chart. Because if you inject the buy volume at once, you get one candle up, one candle down, and then it's just useless from that point.
Can I say on that note, not financial advice here, but what I've noticed people doing from the beginning of Titan till now, which I think people should be aware of, is that if you're selling and you know what the intervals are for the buy and burn and you are timing it right, what people have been doing is they've been hitting the buy and burn, which pushes up the price a little bit, and then they've been selling the same amount to compensate, so the price chart essentially doesn't move. And I think that whoever started that is a great idea, and everyone should at least be aware of it and figure out if that's something they want to do. But I highly recommend everyone be aware of that move. So you're actually helping your bag because you're pushing the price up a little bit before you, and you're not hurting the price. So, I mean, just saying.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Because in charts, you definitely want to see consolidation. And if people do that, you get consolidated charts. And the cool thing about sellers is they don't have infinite coins.
Mm-hmm.
So once they're out, they're out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cool thing about sellers. Because I think your friend Sami has a saying, the bull market doesn't end with a seller. The bull market ends when you kill the last bear. I think that saying is so golden.
That's a very good
Because
saying.
we've seen massive sellers in Titan X. But who gives a fuck? It's just a whale is out and there's plenty of demand coming in the future. So a whale does not kill the chart. It's when you kill the last bear, the guy that was bearish on the project since the start, when he capitulates, that's the top. When you kill the last bear. That's such a good saying. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can think of a whole ton of people to watch now for that signal.
Yeah, we have two very large communities we can see as those people wake up.
Yep. We got two whole herds to watch.
I think the smart people are already taking a dip from Pulse Chain. The smart Hex and Pulse Chain people are already starting to take a dip.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Lightup says, "Should I start streaming?" Yes, man, you should start streaming. I'll have you on my show if you'd like to start.
On that note,
oh yeah.
Thanks, Volt. I was talking to a guy in I think it was another Telegram group the other day. He was asking me for their token. What should be the best thing? I think this is important on that note of should I stream? It's like, man, right now, I think is super important for everyone to work on constantly communicating and trying to communicate better and better and better about Titan X. Just keep adding to this wave of hype and attention that is going out there and really trying to, because I mean, this is the one thing that the Pulse Chain community and all these communities, they did fantastic at really, being polarizing and getting attention. But the one thing I think they did that bit them in the ass is be so overly polarizing that people either absolutely detest them or absolutely love them. And I think being good at communicating in a way where, you're firm on where you stand, but you're not pushing people away, and you're getting better at being more willing to accept someone, even if they hate your viewpoint, and still just talk to them. Man, I think that would be a game changer. So if you're thinking about streaming, if you're thinking about being more active on social media, like you're not only contributing to, the effort of, being out there and being vocal, but you're contributing directly to your bags, and I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to just give yourself, take a little bit of control back and, be a part of a movement. You're adding to something that's really a network effect in that sense too, right? It's exponential in its power.
And people respond differently to different messages. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Another benefit of I've seen this evolution between streamers. So you're a streamer, you start building an audience, you share the message, you become better at communicating. One awesome thing, because back in the day, I was the biggest streamer for Pulse Chain when it comes to viewer count in like a 3-month period. And that was important because it forces you to reevaluate why you believe in something. It forces you to attack your own belief systems because you want to communicate it well. So you become a better investor in the process. The other benefit in something like Next is you build a reputation. Once you build a reputation, you're monetizing it by your bag going up because you're promoting it, you're marketing it. So you're directly monetizing in a indirect way. The other thing is you can start offering products and services or coaching, because there's a lot of people on YouTube that are just new to crypto and would love for somebody to just help them, even if it's just hop on a call. That's amazing. Especially, I think more people should do that, because different people resonate with different people. And then if they can have somebody for coaching, they make more educated decisions. Otherwise, it just become part of the meat grind wheel of crypto. They don't know how to identify scams because they're new. And if they don't have anybody teaching them, then they get wrecked. And then they never come back to crypto. So I'm a massive proponent of educational kind of services. And the other part is, once you become big enough or you build a reputation, you can build on Next. And then you get rewarded by performance-based dev, like all the other devs. And that's like the perfect staircase. As you get better, you get more educated, you communicate better, which allows you to launch your own protocol, and then you're one of us, you know? So there's this perfect staircase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, guys, as you're reaching out, like one thing I think that the Hex community did was great was everyone was focused on one coin, all pushing it in one direction. That was fantastic. But there were times when they just pissed people off to the point where they actually burned bridges. So I would say leave the big influencer connections to the people who have faces in the community to make individual connections. Don't kind of do DMs to big guys. Don't clog their DMs. And when you are replying is great, but just make sure you're being respectful. Don't get into any spats. If someone tries to shut you down when you're in their community, let them do it. Be respectful. If you're raiding other communities, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. You know who's great at this? Marco. Because he's like in the middle of a bunch of communities, and he's very respectful when he communicates. I like that style of communication.
Yeah, I feel that we're on the cusp of really getting a lot of Hex and Pulse Chain people in. From what I've heard through back channels, so let's keep it positive.
I even saw on Twitter yesterday. I've been noticing like in the last week or so, there's been a handful of random names from the Pulse Chain community, even talking about Titan-X for the first time again. And even yesterday, I saw the first time someone openly changed their profile pic and everything to both the Pulse Chain and a Titan-X, and they're like, "Guys, I can't believe it's taking me this long." You know, it's cool. You know, it's cool to see people come around.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm actually streaming with Randy Hilarski and Vets in Crypto, two Pulse Chain veterans, on tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow. Jeez, time flies.
Nice.
So yeah, should be good.
That'll be good one. They've got good audiences as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another big thing is replying to other people's posts is great, but like the spats Eric was talking about. So in debating, there's this idea called ad hominem attack, is where you start arguing about an idea, and instead of arguing about the idea or debating about the idea, you start attacking the person. Like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're wrecked. Avoid that at all costs. Like, ad hominem attacks is just one of the biggest indicators of somebody being dumb and not having any arguments, so they just start attacking the person. So whenever you do get into debates, just argue tokenomics, talk about numbers, and you just ignore that there's a person there. Just talk about ideas. Like, great men argue and debate about ideas, not about people.
That's a good point.
And anybody with a brain that respects that, yeah. Because everybody loves debating about ideas. They don't just... Whenever somebody attacks you personally, that's when you just block that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I did notice a lot of people actually follow kind of haters. Like a couple of people were hating on me hard, like personal attacks. And I went to their profile, and there was a bunch of Titan-X people following them. So clean up who you follow. You know, if someone is just negative and really toxic all the time, you just don't hesitate to block them.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you got so much hate. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Even I was like, damn, he's getting heat. Because I had
epic.
heat when Titan-X started, but it very quickly died down. But you had heat for like extended period of time. You became the villain.
I know, man. No, I legitimately had people investigating me. Private investigator messaged me with my address at the time.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they knew where I was living.
That's alarming. So when did that start?
Right around the launch of DragonX.
Man, people are crazy, dude.
That's crazy.
I mean, people have said things like I was saying. I know, but they didn't realize it. I mean, if you go to mining ROI right now, like staking ROI right now, it's still really good. Like you can still make like a lot of money by staking. I mean, making ETH. It's so funny. But yeah, I mean, people were saying things back then that were not great, but it's okay. It's over now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beyond that. Hey, Utah. Yes, the gang is here. But yeah, how are we gonna denominate the mining ROI? It would be in USD, right? Like, so you have the USD value of Titanx, and then what you would make on that in USD value of Hydra at the end of the miner, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll just see it like on all UIs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hydra is practically ready.
Yeah.
Everything's set up.
You guys like the logo? I'm really proud of my designer. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I think it's sick. I love like the bronzy orange and purple. Like that is. I know it's not green, and I know there's a lot of people that I've seen be like, "Where's the green?" But it's like, dude, that looks sick. Like for a dragon, gold and bronze, it's dope.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yep.
And this is going to be the website.
Yes.
And
that marketing thing behind Jake will be shareable, like from the app, as a marketing tool.
Ooh.
Yeah, when you post a link on Twitter, it will auto populate with this image, like you do when you do hyper.win. So when you see this awesome image on Twitter.
Nice.
I love that.
Speaking of communicating and marketing, remember this effect that I wonder if this would be a good idea for people to start doing is to go back to your guys' older tweets related to the whole ecosystem and comment on them in some way, because what happened was people were going to RH's tweets from year 2, 3, 4 ago and finding something bullish about it, re-commenting on it. And those comments are getting so much attention for whatever reason. I don't know if the algorithm is still the same, but I think for the community, go try that. I'll go do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try and figure out ways to dig into the algorithm and get more eyes on it. I just because it popped into my head, I just want to say that quickly is I think we might want to try doing that and see if it works or not. If it doesn't, obviously we'll walk away. But like if it does work, man, that would help a lot.
Yeah, well, I've been actually mining Richard's tweets for content. I mean, because it's so interesting to see how the early days of Hex and how he communicated it, and to see the similarities and to draw the similarity between Dragon X and Hex.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, right on my Twitter profile is like a post of Richard talking about how Hex wouldn't stop going up. I love that. Like, and it just reminds me of Dragon X in the beginning, you know? Like, I can't believe we can even have a few days of a dip. It's insane, you know? This exact kind of thing would happen with Hex. I remember we would go on, you know, the price would be dipping, whatever. And then Richard would go on a stream and he'd get everybody fired up and the chart would just rip again, you know? And there was like the stream pump was like a thing. Like you knew that when Richard was streaming, the green candles were coming back, you know? And the same thing is happening right now. I love it. So, I mean, I've been looking through all Richard's old tweets. I was looking at Hex.live, which is a really cool, like live feed app. I'm thinking about building it. It's just a live feed that Hex had, and you could see all the whales, shrimps, and all the different leagues, but then you could see their behavior too, like when they're selling, when they're buying, what their position is in the ranking, and how they're behaving in real time. It was really cool. So Richard was tweeting about that all the time. So I would like to resurrect that app. So there's a lot of gold in Richard's early tweets, you know, and I think it's important because the game theory is really not what made Hex famous. It was Richard streaming day in, day out, and being visible, you know, and that's ultimately what made it a success, and that's what I've been trying to impress on the community. Like, you guys are doing what was happening in Hex. It's just a matter of to what caliber can we do that, right? Because there was 20,000 people in the beginning of Hex, and there's fewer here. But if we can continue, then we can get up to 20,000 and beyond. We just have to keep the volume up.
Yeah.
What do we even have?
One of the big things I was focusing on in the beginning of Titan X. So I took a lot of the belief systems from Proustien and Hex, I wrote them down on a piece of paper and started attacking them. And one of the biggest ones I attacked was the centralized piece of trust in a founder. And the solution I kind of built to that was the build on Titan X ethos, because now you have a bunch of different founders that carry trust of the community. And it's not like key man centric. Right. So that's also why you don't really see me do single streams. I always go on with the other builders, because it automatically transfers trust from the founder to the other people. And then over time, you get this decentralized network of trust instead of a centralized trust factor, which is one founder streaming. Yeah, so this definitely did not come by accident.
Smart move.
Because who was it again? There was a live stream I watched. It was from Peter Diamandis, and he has a book called Exponential Organizations, and it's how to build companies in the modern world. And they talk a lot about crypto and a lot about decentralization and how you can build decentralized teams that don't even communicate or talk to each other, which is what we have at Build on Next. So I implemented a lot of that thinking from that Exponential Organizations book and crafted it and applied it to crypto, which then became Next and Build on Next.
That's sick.
Really good. So such a good book. Yeah. He worked closely with Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a very, very similar governance structure. It's a lot of decentralized teams.
That's badass, actually. I gotta give you credit for how much research you do in terms of figuring out the business side and how it relates to crypto and growth and all that, man. It's admirable.
Yeah, because I think one of the benefits a lot of the builders have is they have previous business experience. Because one of the things that kind of pissed me off about crypto was a lot of the founders in crypto have zero actual real world business experience. Like they've never been on a sales call to save their goddamn life. They've never done cold calling or blood marketing or human psychology. They just go to some incubator, get some funding from a random dude. They allow the VC to dump on their community because they just have trust in their marketing ability and building ability. Because marketing in crypto isn't that hard.
Yep.
Like it's not hard in the world if you just do volume.
Yes.
So you just try. So there's very little business experience in crypto. So taking that business world experience, which has been fucking battle tested for hundreds, and applying that to crypto is the ultimate edge.
Agreed. Jake, you're breaking up a little bit. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah. I was just about to message the chat and be like, am I tripping?
Jake's point is a really good one. Like the Blaze team, there's several people that have businesses on there, like Ali and others. I've had a lot of startup experience, and I also founded an NGO. I was the tech lead for an NGO, and I've been self-employed. I've been a contractor, software engineering contractor. I've been self-employed doing marketing. I mean, a lot of people have in Build on Next have business experience, which is good. And right now, I mean, I'm operating effectively a crypto company that's not just DragonX, but also other contracts, development contracts. So, and yeah, I think the marketing is a huge element that so many people building crypto just don't nail, but we're doing a really good job with it with Build on Next. And I think someone in the comments asked like, what's next? And I think honestly, we have so many apps now. We need to double the number of users. I think that would be the most impactful thing for us.
I don't think it's too tall of an order too, because I mean, 100%. If you look at all the holders, where we got 1,069 for Hyper. This is all as of yesterday. 1,069 for Hyper, 14,444 for TitanX, 2,359 for DragonX. We've got 390 in Blaze. We've got 619 in Inferno. Baby DragonX is 367. Helios has 415. I mean, we're not even at 20,000 holders for the entire ecosystem.
Yep.
Like
it's not a lot.
Good.
It's very, very
Let's get it higher.
Like we are one big, like Ivan on Tech or someone where we're like one big guy away from just a massive wave of people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how small we are.
By the way, I want to plant this seed of the community. We have, you know how we have the league positions here, right? We have we got the 1% the whale, 0.1% shark, 0.0% all that stuff. Well, I'm gonna talk to the whales for a second. Challenge. If you earn 1% of supply, or if you hold 1% of supply of every token in this ecosystem, I want to create a new sea creature. It eats everything. It's the biggest thing. No one even knows if it exists for sure, but it's called the megalodon. It's 1% of the entire ecosystem.
1% of the entire ecosystem. I like that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. If you earn that title right now.
That's sick, bro.
As of yesterday, to be a megalodon, it takes $1 million, $1,021,247, or $1,021,247.
Wow. Are there any megalodons to your knowledge?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't done the deep dive yet, but I am gonna have to go and check that out now. Oh no, my camera just died. Okay.
You have a nice picture. You're smiling.
At least it's not one of those ones where I'm like full derp mode.
Exactly.
Yeah, someone's asking about Jack 11. Yeah, I know. Jack entered into the Dragon X chat. I don't know if he was in Titan X too, but Jack is most welcome. I've definitely tried to punch up and pull people out of Zen using my bad experience of losing 100K as NFTs. But ultimately, Jack is a brilliant guy who is doing some really hardcore technical stuff, and he does have a massive community. So if we can get some of Jack's 300,000 people into our tiny little Dragon X puddle, then it's absolutely worth it. And he's most welcome in our chat. I also got on a call with him. He was like on a beach on Oahu, chilling. And we're going to meet in Singapore. We'll probably be running some X1 validators as well. So yeah, we'll see what opportunities there are in X1.
You still there?
I'm still here. Yeah. I don't know if crypto.
No, graphics.
Yeah, I'm still here. I've just got my arm across the screen trying to get my camera battery out.
Hydra favors short compounding cycles. Yeah, what's difficult to understand about that? I'm not sure what is. The bonuses have been reduced such that it's less favorable for people who arrive later to compound. And the people who enter early can't push the price down as much as they would in other protocols, which keeps the ROI higher for longer.
That's an important statement.
Dragon X is up 21%. 21% in the last 6 hours.
This is exactly what happened with X. Like, Richard would come on a stream and the candles would just ride, man. It's so funny. I love this. I love how we're like, we really are we're a branch off the same tree, and a lot of the people are the same, and the vibe is the same. I love it. Let's see what else we got for comments here. When launch? I don't think we're going to talk about that, but I mean, it's very close. Tantalizingly close.
Yes.
I always want to just do one more audit, though. That's something about me you have to realize, Jake, now that we're collaborating.
I'm honestly the same, but I also want to get it. I want to get it out because I want to make the Dragon X fold bigger.
I know.
But it's kind of like it's weighing. It's weighing.
I mean, it's been audited. The code's been audited so many times. Yeah, code's been audited so many times. Thoughts on the performance in the bear? Jake, do you want to go first?
Everything goes to shit in the bear. Yeah, everything goes to shit in the bear market. It's extremely hard to go up in the bear market. Good projects drop 60, 70, 80%, but they still go down. And then you have absolute kills. That's like 99% down. And that's very hard to recover unless you have like some 100 golden bullets of ammo behind you. Yeah, but good ecosystems, they go down a bit. But that's everything in a bear market. In a bear market, that's where you make all the money in crypto, is in a bear market. You make the money in the buy.
Mm-hmm. Who said that? Whose quote was that? Was that Robert Kiyosaki that talked about you don't make money when you sell, you make money when you buy?
That's a good one. It comes from the real estate industry, yeah. I don't remember who mentioned it. I heard it from Ben Mala. I love that guy. Do you know who Ben Mala is?
Wait.
Oh, it's like this fat mafia-looking American.
Oh, yes.
mogul.
Yes, I know this guy.
Yes. He's hilarious and so just straight to the fucking point. I love it. Straight shooter. I love that guy.
Wait, is he an older dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, fat as fuck. But he laughs about it, so he doesn't mind anybody saying it.
Yeah, he's like this huge fat Italian guy
hilarious.
From Brooklyn or whatever, and he's like he had like the worst. Wasn't he going into like tenements and stuff and like buying really, really bad places, evicting people and stuff?
Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. He had to collect rent with like guns and stuff. Like, I was bad. Like, he's hardcore. Like, I love that dude.
That's awesome.
He's got that Miami mansion. It's like Grand Theft Auto maxed out mansion look. Love it.
Sick.
It's like right on the beach.
Yeah, like whenever I'm like really bored and I need some entertainment, I watch a Ben Mala vlog. It just fires you up. It's nice. Just straight shooter, no bullshit, fat mafia dude walking around. He looks like mafia. He is not mafia. Like, he made his money very legitimately with real estate. He's massively entertaining.
That's sick.
Yeah, Marco's got to send out the Hydra hats. Oh, sorry. Yeah. How's the Hydra dab looking, Jake? You like the color scheme?
It looks sick. It looks better than the Hyper. Yeah. It looks better than the Hyper app because now we have a background pattern. There's some. I like it. It looks good. It feels good. There's everything you need.
Yeah.
And a stats page.
Sweet.
Sick. We need more stats pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DragonX needs a stats page, I know. We have a redesign coming, like in a few days. I think we're going to get it up.
We have a pie chart.
I don't think so, sorry.
Come on, we need the pie chart. The pie charts are so awesome to share on socials.
That's some pretty advanced coding, Jake. I'm not sure if we can handle that.
I'll send you the model I use. It's literally 30 lines of code and just a module import. It's not that hard. We just have to translate because it's like Chinese.
Sounds good. Yeah, DragonX is looking so good.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, I'm telling you, 1 billion's right around the corner, my friend. Billion market cap.
Just take Titanx up with it, and I won't be complaining.
Dude, it's not even. It's 20x away. Like,
yeah, we can do it.
Look, dude, of course you could do it. Like, dude,
we need to get on CoinMarketCap before it happens. Like, no one's going to believe it if we apply for CoinMarketCap listing with 1 billion market cap.
Oh yeah, that's true. The Titanx CoinMarketCap also needs to get updated because it has like the low supply because it's dynamic supply. It's hard to track on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think Titanx is in the top 500 of crypto at this point.
You need 46,100 or 298 holders. That's what you need for DragonX, and we're at 23,359.
Wait, how many do you need? How many do you need for?
Because it's 20x of the holders. It'll be 46,000 or 47,198.
You wouldn't need that many holders to get to 1 billion.
Well, if you're just doing like the full Metcalfe's law thing, so that would be like, I think if you got there, you'd guarantee 1 billion. But like,
sure,
but that's easy way to think about it, I guess. But yeah, you're right.
Guaranteed.
Not for sure.
It's just for the legal ass covering. This is all hypothetical. If an whole nuke to zero, we're looking at this.
Yes, thank you.
We're getting heavy here.
Yep.
Not financial.
No one will watch this far into the stream. Don't worry, Jake.
Yeah.
We're already 2 hours in.
Sorry, that was my bad. I forgot where I was.
Well, I mean, that's why I say tweet a lot, guys, because like you have a golden opportunity in front of you, and ultimately, like if you buy Coca-Cola stock, you can't tweet and make the price go up. But if you buy Titanx or DragonX or any other build on Titanx protocol, you certainly can. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and another pro tip for our community members is founders can't talk about certain things, so you need a community to mention them. So a community member can go relatively hard when it comes to the marketing and the things they say. Founders are more than nice.
Yeah,
that's where I come in. I can do all the moon math all day long.
Yep,
exactly.
Yeah, I love that we don't have an OA. We don't have this centralized thing. It's just a bunch of contracts driving value into the protocol. Anyone can build on it.
Yep, it's sick, man.
One of the things I love looking at is in the Titanx holders, what percentage of the top holders are smart contracts. So right now, 9 of the top 50 are smart contracts. 9 of the top 50 holders of Titanx. That's sick.
That's
big.
The
largest individual wallet that holds DragonX is DragonX Hybrid with 5% of the supply, which is pretty significant. Those Emperor NFTs are $850,000 now.
That's nuts, man.
What the hell?
I remember
them being like 12,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Oh,
I do hope we can get some adoption there because it's so cool that you can enter DragonX, but you can exit through ETH and not through TitanX. I hope people will take hybrid seriously.
Yeah, correct. DragonX Hybrid has 5.51% of the supply. It's number one.
Yeah. We just have so many features. You know, like Hex had what is it called? Icosa. You know, it had the stakes. That's it. It didn't really have anything else. It had Maxi Deci later, but that was at the end of the bull market.
Well, the system
it's
had
just
so much.
crazy.
The system had so much inflation too. There wasn't enough. There's no burning in it as well. It was a fantastic system as an idea, but there's a reason the system 2.0 is coming out.
Well, penalties are a burn. I guess you could say there are penalties, which
Yeah, but it wasn't a sufficient burn, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I think a build on Hex attitude would have taken it a lot further. I think.
Good point.
People were just so focused on Hex and Hex itself. Everyone was a Hex maxi.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that has to do with the founding DNA of it. Because I remember Richard in the beginning, he hated talking about other people's stuff. Hated it with a passion and would tell his community to attack it. So it's how you start everything, is how it ends up going. So I think the philosophy that we have with the build on TitanX and the community builders coming together and streaming together, etc., that will take us far for years. Because that's how we started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another thing that I've noticed in Hex was there was a lot of vitriol against people who sold because of the stakers that were stuck in watching these people sell. So that's something that I tell the DragonX community is like we celebrate sellers. Like they're out, they're taking their profits, they're leaving. Maybe they'll buy back higher, but it shouldn't be this kind of negative thing where you're bashing people. I mean, because ultimately those people did contribute their economic energy at one point or another. You know, and it's at some point you will want to sell, right? Like no one holds an asset forever. So you have to, you don't want to feel guilty or have this rubbing between people for doing what's theirs. It's your keys and your coins, right? So
it's such a ridiculous notion to get to call out somebody for selling when everyone's here to make a profit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's hilarious to me.
And that is what's cool about DragonX too, because with Hex, you know, all of the value came from selling Hex. And the only way you could get value in was really buyers, you know, new buyers.
Mm-hmm.
But as a DragonX holder, you're extracting value from the TitanX Ethereum pools. Now you have Hydra, right, and whatever else we build. So it's like we're channeling other value into the token. And I feel that that's just another reason to be fine with sellers. Like it's not just them dumping on your head, right? We have like sort of these decentralized streams of revenue that are coming into the project.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the next guy's money necessarily, especially not in DragonX. I mean, we're just a small community within a community.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's like 40 tweets right there.
Yes. Let's see what we got here. Is Hyper an accelerated version of TitanX, Jake? Do you believe Hyper will have the most ratio swaps to TitanX?
It sort of kind of is. So Hyper is designed to be compounded. It doesn't deflate. It doesn't become more expensive to mine at the same level as TitanX does. Like TitanX gets very expensive to mine. Like if you just close your eyes and go a year into the future, extremely expensive to mine. Hyper doesn't have that. You get less every day, but the Ethereum price doesn't go up, and it's designed to be compounded and feed the center, which is TitanX, because all the Ethereum buys TitanX burns 20%. So because I saw somebody posted on Twitter, another reason I came up with the Hyper design was to offload TitanX inflation onto Hyper. So instead of people starting TitanX miners, they would start Hyper miners, which would keep the TitanX supply low. That was another reason Hyper was designed the way it was. It's kind of like load balancing. So instead of putting all the pressure on TitanX, you have a separate system, which is Hyper, which is basically buying TitanX anyway. So it's the same as user buying. It's actually better than a user buying because it burns 20%. And it was also a way, because when TitanX came out, before Hyper launched, there was like $20 million of Ethereum that exited the ecosystem. And I wanted to have a way to get him back in as new money into the ecosystem. And that was also Hyper. So Hyper has attracted a lot of Ethereum that was not in Titanx, or at least left Titanx.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Very good point.
It's nice to have a standalone app that uses ETH that has slightly like different parameters than Titanx. Some more Titanx.
Appeals to a different person too, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Let's see what else we got here.
Oh, that's actually a good idea. Kevin says, I run the stream transcript through ChatGPT and it organizes tweets for me.
Seeing that.
That's interesting.
Well,
I like that.
That is interesting. Guess they're a lot further ahead than I am. Should I hold cryptographics? What do you think?
Should I hold Titanx or exchange for DragonX? Okay, thank you for the.
You're either going to make Jake mad or you're going to make me mad.
Okay. I would say grab your favorite color dice, pick a number on it, and no. Honestly, this is something that I think the only way to actually answer this question is to read the white paper of Hydra, go and study the hell out of Hyper, go and study the hell out of DragonX, and go understand how all three systems combined are going to affect every token in that chain. And you will then begin to see different answers. And there's not one answer in there. There's multiple different answers depending on which angle you want to take from it, which what your expected outcomes are going to be, what you think people are going to do. There's just so much to consider when it comes to that question. So the actual answer is you should study. You should go look into these different aspects and learn them so damn well that you get multiple answers, not one. Because if you're just sticking to one answer, you're sticking to one set of expectations and one outcome that you are assuming. And how often, real question, how often has anyone seen their expected outcome actually happen perfectly aligned without any external factors being different at all? I mean, almost zero, I would expect. So go study.
Hey, Mike Dean. Mike the Machine Dean is here. Mike, I'm looking forward to streaming with you and having your chart so we can chart everything out and have it visualized for Hydra.
For some reason, that profile picture doesn't do him justice. Because I always see these gym pictures, so he's probably some shredded ass developer.
Yeah.
And he looks like this little dude on his profile picture.
You know what's actually funny about that? The only
If anybody has seen...
Go ahead.
So if anybody has seen Mike Dean in real life, let me know. I'm curious. Because I have no picture of him at all.
I think she showed his shoes once in the gym.
Oh,
That's
he's
all
in
I
the
got
gym.
was like the tip
so
of his shoes.
Yeah.
He definitely has shoes. So we're on to something
He
here.
definitely has, he has feet and shoes. And I mean, by the look of his tip of his toes, he was absolutely jacked as well.
Oh man, I think it's a thing though. I think there's a majority of developers I've met or like coders I've met in real life are like pretty jacked dudes. I don't know what's the trend there, but like seriously,
I don't know what population you're sampling from. It's a pretty small percentage.
It is very I've probably ran into the 2 or 3 unicorns out there.
Yeah,
I mean the interesting thing with the developer community is so when I was a software engineer with a normal 9 to 5, working with startups, most of the engineers were not jacked. But then somewhere along the line, I think it was around like 2012, nootropics started becoming a big idea, then longevity became a big idea, and developers loved these numbers and statistics and all of that stuff. So then you saw a shift, like in Silicon Valley now, you have these hackathon houses, and they have their computers and gyms right next to it. And then they cheer each other on for going to the gym in between coding. So like the culture has shifted a lot on developers.
That's sick. That's actually really sick. So it's more, it's more entrepreneurial lifestyle instead of just anything else. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I came from the good old days of startups, tech startups. I remember I was in a little room. Actually, if I said the name, you might know him, but he's actually friends with Alex Ramsey, this guy. But we were in a little room together, he and I, starting the company. We would work for two days straight, like get into the office in the morning, work, stay up all night overnight, sleep under the desk, wake up, another full work day, then go home. And he actually got cancer. He basically gave himself cancer because of his work schedule. That's how bad it was.
My God.
But he ended up selling his company for like 80 mil, so worked out for him.
Trade-offs,
at
man.
80 mil.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a
I don't know if I'd take that
trade.
trade, actually. Yeah, I don't know if I'd take that trade.
Hell no.
Yeah, man, Hexhound. World needs DeFi. Yeah, man, that's exactly what we're trying to do, man. I want those Richard Hart vibes again. You know, he used to do these massive marathon streams. It was so much fun. And then the chart would be popping off, you know. And then he would be checking the chart while the stream was going on. You know, it's too much fun. I need a better streaming setup, you know.
MacBook cameras.
Yeah. I'm not the builder. I'm just the pretty face, and I had a few suggestions. That's pretty much it for. And I got the cool logo made for Hydra.
Yeah,
Jake's
the logo is sick. I would have gone off with some fucking logo with a bunch of lines and a black background.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we got this one.
Had to save
Exactly.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, anyone else in the community is welcome to use this designer. His name's Bartek, and he's a fantastic designer.
Seriously impressive.
I saw some of the stuff he did with the Dragon X Hybrid NFTs, like UI wise. They look great. Like they were like, oh, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, he's doing the redesign for the website as well, so it's gonna be sick.
Nice.
I'll text him. Pie charts. Just 2 words. Pie charts.
Oh, look, I
He's
think
like,
the
what
X
the fuck is
Spaces
this?
has started. X Spaces has started. Now, should we end this thing?
Ah, the build on time next thing.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep going on here. I don't know.
People watch replays anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the sentiment's totally shifted now. Jake, how do you feel about the current growth rate in the users? Do you have Titanx Premium, by the way? Titanx Sub Premium?
Yes, I don't
do? Okay.
check it all the time. I need to, because they're great tweets.
Yeah, I'm on there every day. Like, it's so interesting to see the adoption. But how are you feeling about adoption of new users right now, Titanx?
Good.
Yeah, it feels like we're back to growth.
I don't see an issue at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two. So Alex Hermosi has this the marketing playbook, and he divides marketing into 2 pieces. One, you have external marketing, and then you have internal marketing. So external marketing is reaching new audiences and telling them about Titanx, and internal marketing is activating Titanx users to use build on Titanx protocols. Yeah. So if we split the marketing in those 2, I think there's massive growth in getting new users in. There's also massive growth into educating the existing community on the existing protocols. So it's like 2 marketing playbooks at the same time.
For sure.
Yeah, in the business world, it's like you ascend existing clients and you attract new clients. So there's 2 different marketing playbooks.
Yeah, Dragon X, we're very lucky because we have so much catch up to do in terms of ascending people from Titanx to Dragon X. So that's the beauty of build on Titanx. But it's a bit difficult, more difficult to attract. We're lucky we have these 2 adjacent communities with Zen and Pulse Chain. I think those are the places we should be reaching toward next. It's kind of the low-hanging fruit, I guess.
I agree. I think they're so like.
Jake, may have other ideas? Sorry, guys, I lost my headphones there for a second. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear the echo. It's a good echo right there.
No, that's not good. Sorry, did you want to talk about marketing, Jake?
Yeah, I was thinking about what the best way would be to reach new users. You have ideas? Graphics?
To reach new users? I mean, this conversation is kind of making me think that, you guys have compared, especially you, Eric, and Jake, were you around in the beginning of Hex as well?
Not beginning, but close to.
Right. So what I'm hearing from you, Eric, and like Marco and other guys are in the community since day one of Hex, or since the early days of Hex, is this notion of like how similar the vibes are to early days in Hex within this ecosystem. And I think communicating that is an interesting correlation, because now you're not saying Hex is better than Titan X or Titan X is better than Hex. You're not having this stupid ass argument of like better than the other. What you're doing is you're saying, hey guys, you remember how good that was? There's some vibes over here that are given the same thing. And if you're here to make some money, you might want to pay attention to this. It's not saying better than, it's not a better than equation. You know, you're kind of bridging the gap between the two and associating something they've already experienced and bringing them in from that angle. I think might be a nice way to bridge that gap. And then I think that's what I might do on my channel once in a video or two, is talk about, maybe I'll bring, it'd be cool to maybe do a stream with you, Eric, and maybe Marco, and maybe any other of the guys from the OG Hex days that want to come on and talk about that. And kind of have a bridge building stream, so to speak, where, you know, Hexicans or Pulsicans that were there in the early days could come and, you know, find the similarities in what made performance happen with Hex and how that's happening in Titan X, and maybe make them realize what's happening there instead. And I think for the community to, when someone like Eric speaks, when someone like Marco speaks, really, like, those tweets I think are really important in terms of comparing the two. And those, and you guys, especially to the OG Hexicans, I think will have the most value to them specifically, because you were there with them, you experienced, you can relate the closest to them. So I think piggybacking off of those kinds of statements would be possibly pretty important. Now I think it's experimental, and playing with that. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does, but I think that might be a place to start.
It's a good idea.
That's what I'm doing for like that's a lot of the focus of my marketing, is trying to help people relive those times, because that was some of the best times in crypto, in my opinion, were those early days of DeFi summer and stuff. And I want to give those vibes to people and help communicate that. And I think a great way you could do that also is to do some clips from some of Richard's early streams. Try to make parallels. So you could have a video where you just go through some of Richard's old wisdom that he was laying down. And you could show, like, look, you know, a lot of what he said was actually pretty basic stuff. It was new at the time, but for us, it's basic. But what distinguished him was how well he was at communicating it, and his ability to just do it for 2 years straight to a big enough audience, right? So, like, we're not that different. You know, Dragon X is not that different from Hex. Like, we have many of the same features. And then I also like to draw parallels in terms of, like, the operation of Dragon X and comparing it to Hex. Like, for example, you know, people in Hex already understand deflationary T-shares, right? They already understand this idea of there's this deflationary thing backed by this inflationary thing, and they play off of each other, right? And this is something that I've tried to communicate when I'm streaming with Hexicans or talking to Hexicans. Is like, Dragon X is like the T-shares of Titan X. It's that deflationary store of value. It's a thing you want to get, right? That locks your value in the system. And the Hex is the reward for holding that thing. Just the way Dragon X can be swapped for more Titan X later if everything goes the way we want it to go, right? So using parallels like that. And then, yeah, bridge building to Zen, I think, is starting to happen as well. Like, I'm going to meet Jack in Token 2049. And conferences is a good way too. You guys should try to get to some conferences, some big conferences, like in Dubai and Singapore. That'll be really good.
You need a few more green candles for that, man.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
What I've tried to angle my marketing primarily towards new users, because I think the value proposition of hyperdeflationary is massive. I think the word hyperdeflationary is something a lot of people get, even if they haven't been in crypto before, because they understand the idea of inflation. So they're like, okay, inflation reduces the value of my money, deflation increases the value of my money. So I think for new users, talking about the hyperdeflationary stuff in this ecosystem is the perfect way in, because there's not much in crypto that's actually hyperdeflationary. Very, very little. Even the idea of buy and burn is not a crypto native thing at all. Like, if a project talks about buy and burn, everybody's like, oh, buy and burn, because nobody does it. And the idea of no VCs, everybody in the market is fucking tired of VCs. Everybody's tired of the cabal and getting dumped on by insiders. So I think the best marketing narratives for onboarding people that do not know about this side of DeFi, etc., is hyperdeflationary, fair launch, no VCs, no insiders, smart contract owned, liquidity, locked, awesome community, bunch of streams, stuff they can't experience anywhere else. Did you know XRP, for example? XRP still has half of their supply to be unlocked and dumped after this long.
Wow, really? That's insane.
Yeah.
Holy.
There's $21 billion that still needs to be unlocked as sell pressure, basically, after this long. That's
Fantastic.
fucking insane.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Solana inflates at $50 million a day. So I think hyperdeflationary is a massive, massive narrative.
I love that parallel you drew to the T-share as well, Eric. That was a super easy to understand analogy. And I think from what both you guys are saying, that's the reasons why I think that conversation needs to happen. Bridge those gaps.
In person is super powerful. I'm going to Token 2049. I'm going to meet Jack. I know some other KOLs and exchanges there. I don't know if I should say this. I'll say it. I mean, I have connections to some exchanges. I think I've talked to Jake about this. So what I want to do, and who knows what will happen, it's experimental, but a lot of these exchanges, they want yield-bearing products as an offering inside the exchange. So yeah, I'm talking to a few exchanges about maybe getting hyper integrated into an exchange. It's very, very experimental. So it may never happen, but it's possible. And so that's the kind of thing that you can do it, because it's very hard to meet people who own exchanges or have decision making outside of things like conferences. Another thing I was thinking about doing, I was talking to a guy who does this. He hires models to DM people on LinkedIn. Have you done this, Jake? As a marketing strategy? It's really smart. Like,
hire models?
Because it's professional dudes, and then like there's a blonde girl, some pretty blonde girl messaging her.
Oh yeah, I've seen that stuff. Yes.
Your profile is so impressive. I would love, I'm so impressed by your career. Like, oh, by the way, I'm representing, this project. Might be interested in talking to us. And apparently it works really well.
That's guerrilla marketing. That's crowd hacking. That's good.
So like, I mean, if like now that we have a Hydra product, like if we can leverage this product as a white label for exchanges, then we have an in. So yeah, so I think trying to find those people at conferences and doing that kind of like LinkedIn marketing could be effective.
Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, basically outbound campaigns. I did a fuck ton of outbound.
Outbound, yeah.
With the ADC and stuff, yeah. But the issue with outbound is like you have to target crypto natives. So you mean like reaching out to like professional crypto people, basically?
Yeah, like exchanges and KOLs and stuff. I mean, the KOL relationships I've made from people in person have been so sticky. Like I was in the visa office in Dubai, like doing a visa thing, and I was sitting next to this guy, and he had all these coin things on his shirt. Turns out he's like this, like one of the first guys in like ordinals or whatever, and he actually has a big following, a huge crypto university and stuff. And I'm going to talk to him once we're a little bit bigger. But it's just that in-person fact that we were sitting there and making the connection in the visa office in Dubai was like, I can message him at any time now. I'm not just another face on Telegram, right?
That's a good point.
That's sick.
I've never gone to conferences.
I mean, if you just go to Dubai for like a week and just try to meet as many people as you can, that can be super high value for crypto, because all those crypto guys are there. They're all hanging out in the address by Marina, at night, like in the same fucking bar. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good way to meet those people.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should put my morals aside basically for this, because I've never associated with many crypto people because I all think they're fucking scammers. Because like once you see the inner working of these KOLs, like you're like, I can't even look at you as a human being at this point. Like, yeah, maybe put the morals aside and just like do whatever it takes. Maybe, yeah.
That's a funny sentence.
No, I mean, some of them really don't have a lot of scruples. Like many of them have bought followers, and most of the accounts are padded, and the projects are desperate. They don't even realize how padded these accounts really are. But there are a few bright spots. If you can reach the people who have been in the industry for a long time, like Da Vinci Jeremy or this guy Gray or Joe Paris, like they're more open to real stuff because a lot of them have made a lot of money, and now it's a reputational thing as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah. We're just vibing now. Does anybody have any questions in the comment? Let's just throw Mike Dean 0 for a little bit.
Jake, what do you think about this question?
So obviously not financial advice, but everything's paired with Titanx. So all the build on Titanx is designed to outperform Titanx. You don't build something on Ethereum to not outperform Ethereum. It's the same thing with Titanx. So it's leverage on Titanx, and it would be bad if something underperforms Titanx.
At the same time, it's almost like the most risk, like the least risk you could take, right? Probably, in a sense. It's like almost
Titanx for sure.
Yeah, it's like the index fund of the system because everything is bringing value back to Titanx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah, you don't get beards like this without high tea.
I think that's basically it. Do I think the ratio to Titanx will ever be 1-to-1 again? Keep waiting, my friend.
I'm loading the hell up if that happens.
Oh my god!
Maybe in the next bear market.
I'll sell my beard if that happens to go in.
Well, yeah. So it's kind of crazy. So if you add up all the Titanx pairs, Titanx has $10.9 million of volume, and Pulse Chain has 7.4 million. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Did I just hear a V10 go by out of one of your windows? Is that what I just heard?
Maybe. Maybe.
It's like, wait. I heard a sound there. Sorry to sidetrack, but
I fucking love V10s. They sound so good. Every time I hear one, I'm like, oh yeah, sing for me, baby.
Oh my god. V10 is only second to the Gintani F1 exhaust on a V12.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was watching a YouTube video yesterday. I've never heard of Gintani, and now you mentioned him. Reality transfer.
That's sick. Oh my god, best. I think. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, not going to go down there, but yes, I agree. Oh my god.
Yeah, casual 34% Dragon Axe. I love that effect. It used to happen with Richard too. Like as soon as Richard was like, "Hey, I'm streaming," the chart would just start to pump. It's a really good sign. Man. What about approaching other chains for new users?
We're kind of going to do that with X28. Yeah, but it's hard to break into communities like because Ethereum has a specific community, Solana has a specific community, BSC has a specific community. Like finding a way to break into like a new way of thinking, we're gonna have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think that it's about DeFi. It's about carrying on that good old-fashioned DeFi, like in the core principles of DeFi. I mean, DeFi is not dead, man. It was just a bear market,
Yeah. I mean, every time you're like, oh, I don't know if crypto is a thing, just try doing anything with your bank.
Brutal.
Banks,
Absolutely
oh my
brutal.
god.
Infuriating.
Infuriating. I fucking hate banks. Like, oh, I'm gonna pay you some money. Oh shit, it's Saturday. Wait 3 years before you get it. It's like, what the fuck? It's numbers on the screen. Send it. What's with all this like Do you need like a person in the bank to carry it from one bank to another? Why the fuck is there a delay? That's so
Yeah.
wild.
No, I mean, it always happens at the worst times. Like the number of times I've like touched down in a country. Well, where was I? I flew into some country, put my card, got off the plane. I wanted cash. I put my card into the ATM. Immediately, the ATM took it from me and froze my account, and I was out of money in the airport. No way of getting money. Like that kind of thing happens to me all the time, and it's brutal. I mean, I don't know. So many Americans. I bet most Americans just travel to Mexico and Canada. And a large portion of the population doesn't even have a passport, so they don't really recognize. But like, I lived in a small Caribbean island before, and it's like there's a different currency like 20 minutes away in every direction. And there's really a big use case for crypto, and I really, really hope that we can succeed in breaking down the banking system at some point.
100%. Yeah, it's crazy. Like Alt.next said, banks are insane right now. You beg for your own money. That's really how it is.
And there are countries where there are literally money changing shops on every single corner because the inflation is so high. People need to like balance their savings every day. That's the world we live in. It's not the reality in the United States, but it's the reality in a lot of countries.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think the way banks are going is you're just going to have a crypto wallet in your bank, and then when you spend on your card, it just takes from your crypto. Like Binance card had one. There's a bunch of like these Visa cards that are basically paying with crypto. It's definitely better. Definitely better. Because I've never had issues. Like I had a Binance card, it was fine. Never got declined. Everything was fine. It was exactly like a Visa card, and it was fast. I wanted to send somebody money. Boom, done. Easy. Crypto rails. Yeah, so much better.
You just eliminated another XRP holder.
But XRP is fucking garbage, dude. Have you seen? Okay, no. I'm gonna get into legal shit if I start. XRP very good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're going to reach more bigger and bigger YouTubers. Like it's just right now we're so early in the bull market. It's still the diehards are basically hanging on. But just wait until they start cutting rates. Wait until the election's over. It's going to get crazy again.
Yeah.
Here's a random, probably terrible thought, but Dazelle has an interesting statement. The only thing in crypto, I mean, I don't necessarily fully agree with everything going on in the comment, but why not build something that's backed by Bitcoin? Could you imagine doing a Titanx protocol where to mine it, you have to use wrap BTC?
I've thought about that. The issue, yeah. I just don't like the wrap BTC because it is centralized. It can just be turned off because it's a wrapper.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's one of the main issues. Also, Ethereum is very smooth to work within smart contracts.
Sweet.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
No, that's good. That's good to know. I can put that thought to rest now. Nice.
How hard is it to get like a bank card for service? Like, don't they have white label solutions where you can get like a bank card for your company or?
Yeah.
Not sure.
I think I've seen that.
That'd be super cool to have a Titanx branded card.
Yeah, another interesting thing is if you're in crypto and you're a builder, never ever use the word cash or US dollar because those are protected words. So just use something else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Call it what was it called? Faye. That's what they called that token. That's when they crashed. Didn't Faye collapse? But they were smart. They didn't call it like a USD whatever. They called it something else. Or DAI.
Yeah, DAI. Man, there's so much stuff to talk about in crypto. Have you seen DAI changing to Sky and adding a freeze function to their stablecoin?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, no, thank you.
Predictable, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. DAI is still gonna exist though, so I don't think they have the ability to add a freeze function to DAI, and DAI should still work just fine. Yeah, we got listed on exchanges. But for some reason they took it off. I think we were listed on Bitmart and then they stopped trading or whatever. Probably at some point, yeah. Ideally, everything's on DEXs now.
Yeah, you really don't benefit a lot as a small project on a like all their trading volume comes from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stables. Like there isn't a lot of altcoin. I mean, okay, maybe like Pepe and stuff, but as a small project to get listed on there, it's mostly just a cash grab for the exchange. They don't really, unless you pay them extra, they won't generate volume for you. And then once you stop paying them, the volume is going to go away. So
yeah, true. Yeah, I think Base is going to be a game changer this cycle. Like if they have some kind of ability to bring people on chain through Base or whatever, there's going to be a massive influx of just on chain users. And once you're on chain, you kind of start looking everywhere. Like you go from chain to chain, like it's no big deal. Especially if it's like EVM compatible, like from Base to Ethereum is easy, Ethereum to Base is easy. I think you might see a massive influx of users if Base basically brings people on chain. They probably have the biggest user base in all of crypto.
You're going to bring X28 to Base?
Yeah. Yep.
Can you say anything else? Can you say anything else about X28 at all? Because I've just heard the name and people saying omni-chain, like, bridge. Yeah. There's words I'm hearing, but I don't know what to connect the dots to for anything yet.
Yep. So X28 is an auction system. People are able to burn liquid, staked, or mined Titanx. Miners, however you pronounce that. So liquid stakes or miners. You enter auction. You get X28. X28 it's called an OFT, omni-chain fungible token. So you can bridge it in between chains via layer 0. It's a very nice bridge because what it does is you can take it X28 from Ethereum to Base, and it just burns the coins on Ethereum, mints them on Base, gives them to you. It doesn't sell them down in a trading pair. So by people bridging, you're not creating volatility and dumping. Because what happens with a lot of bridging protocols is they sell the coin down on one chain, bridge the liquidity over, and then buy it on another chain, which creates these massive issues with liquidity pools and price dumping. So layer 0 actually just burns it on one chain, mints it on the other chain, and it doesn't impact the liquidity pools. So X28 will exist on pretty much all chains, maybe even Solana. And that's basically going to be the Titanx on all the chains. And then it will have all the builder functions, so people can build on X28 like they can with Titanx. So then the community can go omni-chain. But all of it comes back to X28, and the only pair for X28 is going to be Titanx X28 on Ethereum, and then very likely native X28 on all the other chains. But it will basically take out a community omni-chain. That will be a massive burner. Massive burner.
Oh, yeah. And I guess I probably shouldn't ask for more details yet. I'll wait till the white paper is out for my nuanced questions, but that's sick.
It is very sick. Layer 0 is great. I like layer 0.
Right. And you said, I agree. I think layer 0 is going to be huge. But you said a tweet that you think Hydra is going to be second to X28, right? In terms of its burning. Right.
Yep, I think so.
I think X28
because it's the highest percentage. Yes, I think so.
What did you say, Eric?
I was just asking if you thought the X28 would be the top burner.
Oh, okay. Wait, a top burner second to Titan X? Are we including Titan X in that, or is X28 going to be the most? Okay.
Second to Titan X, then, yeah. Yeah, because if you include the Titan X buy and burns, it will be second.
Yeah, and of course it makes sense. I was just hoping that you would say no over on top of Titan X, because then that's a huge statement.
That would be crazy.
Sick.
I'm almost gonna go. I'm getting hungry as hell.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, this was a good point.
Probably finish up too. I think we're out of comments. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Jake, it's been a pleasure working with you, man, on this. It's been really fun. And thank you so much for offering to build this thing on top of DragonX, man. Really appreciate it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys deserve it. #1 Titanx protocol, most users, most burned, most volume, most attention. Like if there's anything I wanted to build on was Dragon X. So now we're doing a boat. We're burning Titan X and we're burning Dragon X. Still shot. Love it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, congrats, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing this thing come out and rock the Titan X world.
Sounds good. Glad you're able to.
Very, very soon.
Okay, guys, take care.
All right.
See you.
See you, boys. See you, chat.
Yo.